All right. So, a good evening, everyone. Can we hear me clearly? Can we hear me clearly?
Yeah,
So,
sure,
a
we
good
can hear you.
evening. All
Yeah, good
right. Thank
evening.
you very much. Thank you very much for that, Richard. So, a good evening, a good afternoon, depending on your time. Welcome to this Analytics Masterclass. And today's session is going to be very, very interesting. Do you know why? Because there has been like a lot of buzz behind, oh, what is ChatGPT? How can I leverage ChatGPT as a professional? Or what exactly am I going to do? Is AI going to replace me? Or, okay, is there a way I can actually leverage ChatGPT? So we are going to be having a walkthrough, a practical walkthrough in class today. So you'll be surprised what you can do using ChatGPT. So before we proceed, I want us to do a little exercise. If you are joining us for the first time, this is your first analytics masterclass, I need to drop a 1 in the chat. All right, because that's the amazing thing about being in an online session. You get to talk, you get to interact, you get to learn from different locations. So if this is the first time that you are joining us for a 10 Analytics Masterclass session, I want us to, this session is going to be very, very interactive. So I need us to respond in the chat. All right, so let's see, I can see ZEYC01. I don't know what kind of name that is, but welcome to today's session. Chimela, Dolapo. I need more responses. Have we all, is this our first masterclass session? Have we had other sessions where we had to learn, where we had to interact with other professionals from 10 Analytics? So I need a response in the chat. So that's good. That's good. I can see Anslem, I can see Richard. So welcome to today's session. And as I mentioned, it's a hands-on practical session, and we are going to be learning a lot. So we are still awaiting like a lot of persons that will be joining us on this call. Another exercise that I want us to do is, are you in the UK? Are you in Canada? Are you in Nigeria? Where are you joining in from? I want to know before we get more serious and get our hands dirty with coding. I want to know, where exactly are we joining us from? I need a response. I need a response in the chat. Are you in Nigeria? Oh, Anslem says, oh, this is your first masterclass, and then you're joining from Nigeria. So welcome to today's session. So I can see Kano all the way from Kano. So Ife Oluluwa says Nigeria is having it. So what's happening? What's happening? So Vivian says, oh, this is your first masterclass. So welcome everyone to today's session. And just sit back. You're going to be learning a lot. You're going to be learning how exactly am I going to make life easy? How am I going to utilize AI in making life easy for myself? So moving forward, I can still see a lot of responses in the chat. I can see Benue, Nigeria. I can see Kenya. Wow, that's good. That's good. Joining in from Kenya. Welcome to today's session. Okay, so if you are just joining us, I am Esther Gena Brima. I'm a Senior Data Associate at Analytics. And today we'll be having an interesting session on exploratory data analysis with ChatGPT. I know I mentioned there has been the buzz about ChatGPT for a while. What's ChatGPT used for? How can I utilize this tool in making my work, my daily activities easy? So you'll be learning some of these techniques today. Now, moving forward, who are we at 10 Analytics? All right, so why do we have the rights? Why do we have the, well, I say, license to come and tell you how to perform exploratory data analysis with ChatGPT? So we are an EdTech organization, and our main goal is to ensure that you acquire tech skills, right? We have noticed the gap between Africans and then the technological industry. All right, so it is high time, it is necessary that we have more Africans, we have more Black community in the tech. That's a representative of the Black community in the tech ecosystem. So our goal here is to ensure that you acquire these skills. That's without a prior knowledge, without you, spending a lot of years reading computer science and all. Our goal is to ensure that you easily transition from having no prior knowledge, all right, to the tech ecosystem. And we do so by a variety of courses such as data analytics, business analysis, data engineering, data science, financial analytics, HR analytics, and then a Power Platform program. So moving forward, these are the founders of 10 Analytics. So I can see our response in the chat. That's good. You know, I mentioned earlier that the amazing thing about an online training session is that you get to learn, you get to talk, you get to interact with persons from different locations. That's the amazing thing. You get to, okay, speak with them, learn from, okay, what's their learning method is, and then whatsoever the topic is being discussed that day, you get to understand and get an overview. So the brain behind, or rather the founders of 10 Analytics, right? So we have Adeiza Suleiman and we have Efemina Ikpo. So these are professionals with close to a decade experience in their field. So you should know that we did not just start from nowhere. No, we have seasoned professionals to help you move from having no prior knowledge at all to effectively transition. So on the call, we have the founder of 10 Analytics. So hi, Adeiza. A good evening. How are you doing?
Hello, Brima. Hi, I'm very well. Thanks for that fantastic introduction. So I can't see myself. I think somebody should just spotlight me or something.
Okay, yes.
All right, fantastic. So good evening, everybody. Good to have you all join us today. We're going to have an amazing session as usual. We have these free sessions to create the awareness across different people, Africans, people of the Black community, across different regions. And the whole idea is to let you know that there are so many opportunities out there. All right. So irrespective of where you are in Africa, you moved or migrated to the UK, to Canada, to the US, you should be competing for the best jobs out there. We have it within us to compete for those best jobs and get jobs in an area that you can clearly see a career progression. And that's the essence. And that's the reason why we set up 10 Analytics, to provide that platform for professionals within the space. Now, over the last 3 years, we've been able to help over 1,000 people transition from the classroom to getting their first jobs in tech. People from different backgrounds, lawyers, medical doctors, accountants, finance professionals, supply chain. It doesn't matter your background. My background was in industrial chemistry. I've done data analytics for close to a decade of my career, worked with some of the biggest organizations across the globe, from sub-Saharan Africa to working as a contractor and consultant for companies in the US and in the UK. And I've worked across 5 different sectors, from educational technology to financial services to sports, energy, and of course, currently in the UK in the automobile sector. So I'll be coming back after Brima is done with her practical bits of what she wants to show you today. How can you leverage a new technology? Well, not so new, but a new trend in generative AI, a large language model like ChatGPT. How can you leverage that to help with your role as a data scientist using Python and so on and so forth? And she's going to break it down as best as she can. And I want you to sit back, relax, enjoy the session, and make note of all the questions you have, because we'll have a questions and answer session before we wrap up for today. So thank you once more for joining us, and I'll be back with you once Brima is done to walk you through the other aspects. It takes 2 parts to get a job in data science or to get a job in tech. You need 50%, which comprises of the technical skill, and you need another 50%. Now, the other 50% is where you have a whole lot of people falling short, right? They have the skill. Anybody can learn how to use Python, learn how to use ChatGPT, and so on and so forth. However, very few people have the skill. Very few people have the skill to compete for the best jobs available out there. Okay, and I'll come back to show you what that other 50% is for those that stay till the end of the session. All right, so sit back, relax, and enjoy. And Brima, if you can come back to continue the session. I'll be back with you guys. All right, so cheers, everyone. I'll see you in a few minutes.
Okay, so thank you so much for that, Adeiza. So Adeiza is the founder of 10 Analytics. All right, so it's a pleasure having you on this call. So moving forward, your facilitators for today. So this is ahead of training here at 10 Analytics. Oluwadamilona Ajumobi. She's a seasoned professional, right? With close to 5 years experience deploying data analytical techniques in solving problems. And then this is myself. I am Esther Kenabrima. I'm a senior data associate here at Analytics. It's about 5 years in data science and machine learning techniques. So we'll be having a very interesting session today. So I need you to sit back and learn. So what we are going to be doing today, right? If you are just joining us, this is a Analytics Masterclass session, and we'll be using ChatGPT for exploratory data analysis. So if that's the first time you're just hearing that word, right? There's no need for you to be scared that, what is Brima saying? What is the exploratory data analysis? I don't know what that means. All right. So what we are going to be doing today. Okay, so we'll be having a practical session on EDA with ChatGPT. Then you'll be learning the pathway to becoming a full stack, not just an ordinary data scientist, a full stack data scientist. So I saw a message in the chat regarding, how exactly do I become a professional, a data science professional? All you have to do is to just sit back and follow along with today's session, and you'll be learning a lot. Then we have a special offer for you. Adeza mentioned that he's coming back. So after we have this practical session, we have a session where you get to talk, you get to interact, and then we provide you with guidelines. And finally, we have the 10 Analytics Growth Internship Program. All right, one thing that a lot of recruiters will want to know is, have you worked somewhere? Do you have a previous job experience, or do you have projects that you have worked on? All right, so we know that you are authentic. Right? So this is what our 10 Analytics Growth Internship is about, and it is free. So our 10 Analytics Growth Internship is like a 1 month program where you get to work on projects, and then you get to harness and hone the skills that you have learned. So if you're just joining us, sit back and let's have a very nice session. So what is exploratory data analysis? Right? This big word that you always see. If you are familiar with data science, so you'd see EDA, what's this? When tech people are talking, sometimes it's too technical and then it's too complex. All right. What exactly is EDA? So EDA is like the short form of exploratory data analysis. So the next time somebody mentions EDA, you know that, I learned it in one masterclass that Brima taught EDA. Then why is it relevant? You really want to know why EDA is relevant. So the first thing that I want to ask us, have you ever been to a market? And let's use Nigeria, a typical Nigerian market as an example. And they are fighting in that market. What do you think? What do you think are the words that will be exchanged? I need a response in the chat. If you've been to a typical, let's say, Lagos Nigerian market or Abuja Nigerian market or any kind of market that you've been to, I need a response in the chat. What do you think will be the questions? Hey, gosh, Clara is saying thief. All right, and I need more responses. As I mentioned, I want this class to be I want us to enjoy ourselves today. So Clara says, my color, come and buy. Interesting. Okay, let me paint another scenario. And let's say there's a fight in the market. There's a fight in the market, and then you see people coming, gathering. They will, that scenario, Nigerian films where they will cycle around where it is happening, right? What do you think are the questions that are going to be asked? So I'm going to repeat the scenario again. Let's say, given a Nigerian market now, there's a fight going on in that market, or you just hear one noise, let's say they shot a gun or something. All right, what do you think are the questions that are going to be asked? So I can see, can you not hear me? Interesting. Don't bite me. Do you know who I am? So these are the people that like to claim rights in the market. Let's see, I need more responses. What was it? Oh, okay, so I think I've repeated the question already. Waiting happened. Exactly. Are you mad? Calm down, be calming down. Okay, let's see. What happened? Are they mad? I will deal with you. Waiting happened. It has happened. Oh, how did it start? What happened? Interesting. I need more responses. So I'm going to paint the scenario back again. Let's say you are in Nigeria. And for example, you're in Lagos, Nigeria. All right. And then you go to the market now. and you want to, let's say, procure goods for the weekend, and then you just start seeing people running. All right, you know, the natural inclination of Nigerians, of Black people, all right, they want to run because they saw everybody running. But there's always that one person that will stop and now say, what is happening now? I saw a response in the chat, waiting exactly. Thank you, Usola. Abiola says, how fun? Yes, exactly. So those questions, the person will come and say, mommy Benga, Iya Ola, or I need a popular Yoruba name. Iya Oluwadamilola. The person now come and ask, what is happening? All right, why are people running? Why are they fighting? You know, there are some persons that will be claiming rights, but there will be that one person that will come and ask and say, oh, what exactly is happening? All right, why are they fighting? Because you are trying to understand, you are trying to see, do I need to run? Why exactly are we running? Is it related to me? Or if we are going back to the scenario where the market women are fighting, you're trying to understand what caused this fight. Why exactly are they fighting? That's the first question. So after all the gisting, exactly, Anselm is saying, Iyabo, why are they running? So you stop and ask, before I run, why exactly are they running? Right? What is happening? Now, I want us to picture this market scenario in our head. All right, I'll be using it to explain the different types of analytics. Now, moving forward to the different types of analytics that we have. The first one is descriptive analytics. So Anselm says, waiting be that, why are they running? I don't know what 2-in-1 SIA so lucky. I cannot pronounce that, but we'll continue in class. So, you know, I mentioned there's that one person that will stop and say, Iyabo Benga, Iya Damilola, what is happening? Why are people, or rather, what is happening? I want to know. So that question, that's you asking what is happening. That is you performing descriptive analytics. So all the times where people have been fighting, right? Or they have been quarreling in the market, and you went there to ask, madam, come and tell me what exactly is happening. What happened? That is you performing descriptive analytics. So almost every time in your daily life, you're doing these things, but you don't actually know that, oh, there's a data analytical term assigned to it. Now, moving forward, after understanding that, oh, let's say, the first year, or let's say the first market woman kept something somewhere, then the other woman came to remove it. Like, this is us using a local scenario now, because I really want us to understand. I want us, after this session, if they close that, if we are asleep and they come and ask us what is descriptive analytics and what is diagnostic analytics, we understand. We even give them like a lot of scenarios to try to explain the different types of analytics. Now, you've asked what happens. You discovered that, let's say, Iyada Milola placed something in one place. Then the second woman came to remove it. So now, you've now understood that, oh, what resulted in the fight was that she removed something that she was not supposed to touch. Now, how did it happen? That's the question of you answering diagnostic analytics. So first, you asked what happened. Then, how did it happen? Right? You notice that they moved something from the initial position, and then that was how the fight started. So, you know, I mentioned that in our everyday lives, we perform analytics. We ask questions of, oh, what exactly is happening? Now, after having an understanding of what is happening, then you now know, if this is what is happening, how did it happen? How did we get to this scenario that they are fighting? How did we come to this consensus or this particular state that we are in? Okay, that is your diagnostic analytics. And then everything, that's both your descriptive and your diagnostic, right? You are trying to explore, you are trying to understand. Now, coming to the concept of data, or the concept of data science. Now, your exploratory data analysis is just you trying to understand trends. Let's say you're working with the data, trying to understand pattern, trying to see what exactly is happening in this data. If okay, let's say we are seeing like a high revenue from, let's say, a region, let's say Lagos. Then you are trying to ask, how are we getting a lot of sales from this region? Is it that we have a lot of customers in that region? Or is it that we have a lot of marketing campaigns that are associated with that region? All right, that's you exploring, you going into your data. It's just as if you dining with your data, you using your, I should say it a lot, using your eye, your data eye to look at the data very, very well and try to understand what happened. That's one. Now, how did that scenario that happened, how exactly did it happen? That's your exploration. And then moving forward, your predictive analytics. You know, I mentioned, don't feel too overwhelmed that, oh, this is complex. I don't know what these terms are. I don't know where to start from and all. So yes, Adewale is saying is how did it happen? Same as that. Yes, you are trying to understand. All right, you are trying to understand what exactly is going on. Okay, so after knowing, so I think I'm just going to mute. Just give me a moment. Let me just mute. So let me mention again that if you are not speaking, ensure that you mute your mic. Okay, so we'll have like a seamless session and then we'll be good to go. Now, moving forward, after exploring, you see the reason why your exploratory data analysis is very, very important as a data professional. Why? Because prior to you even moving to machine learning, right? That's you trying to, or now, let's go back to our scenario. I feel we'll understand more. Let's go back to our market scenario. Now, let's say, going back to where they were quarreling, you've understood what happened. Now, you've understood how and why exactly it happened. Then, you know, there's always this old man, or let's say this advanced person, or anybody can come and ask and say, has this happened previously? Is it that these two ladies, they are always quarreling because their shops are closer together? All right, so now you now say, oh, that means if they're always quarreling because their shops are closer together, that means in future, when we are reassigning shops, when we are allocating spots, we should not place these two ladies together at all. You should avoid that because the kind of chaos they are causing is too much. So now you went back to understand what has happened in the past. You're now using it to predict what is going to happen in the future. That's the whole concept of predictive analytics. So it is very, very important that as a data professional, you understand this concept, because as basic as it is, right? If you walk up to somebody now and ask them, what is diagnostic analytics? They'll be looking at you, where's this coming from? What is that? So I want to believe that we have an overview of descriptive, right? Diagnostic, and then predictive analytics. So I need a response in the chat if we are good to go. I need a one in the chat if we are good. Are we enjoying ourselves? Are we good? Are we good? Are we good? I need a response. Oh, thank you, Anthony. Let's see. I need more responses. That's good. That's good. Dolakpo. That's good. We are following. I'm happy that we are following. All right. So now moving forward, this is your model building. So it's just as if, right, before you even think of predictive analytics, before you even think of machine learning, or before you even think of, oh, which model am I going to use and all, you have to first understand your data, right? You have to explore your data. You have to know patterns, you have to know trends, or, okay, is there a strong relationship between this future, or is there a strong relationship between the time that one of the women that were quarreling comes to the, let's say, the market, and the other time that the other one comes, so that we avoid any scenarios whereby there will be conflict or there will be chaos in the market. So you see, descriptive, you trying to understand what has happened. Then moving forward, diagnostic, you're trying to understand, oh, why? How did this happen? All right. Then predictive analytics, you know, I gave us a scenario just now. You're now thinking to the past. Has this happened continuously or previously in the future? Then you're now using that to now, okay, let's just look into the future. now and predict and try to infer that, oh, this is what is going to happen in the future. So predictive analytics, in simple terms, just encompasses you using past information, right? Using past data, using your knowledge of what has happened and why exactly it happened in the past to try and deduce, infer, / predict what is going to happen in the future. All right, so I'm happy that we are following. Now, moving forward to exploratory data analysis. So I believe in my mind that you have an overview of EDA. All right, this is just like the technical term, right? It is the process of examining and visualizing data to understand its underlying patterns, characteristics, and relationships. So it is just you using your data professional eye to look at your data very well to try to see, is there a relationship between this and this, right? You are exploring, you're trying to understand, you are looking into your data to see trends, to see characteristics, and see relationships in your data. All right, so moving forward, it helps you, your EDA helps you gain insight and familiarity with your data. You know, I mentioned specifically before you even think of predictive analytics, before you think of, oh, looking at using the past, using your data to predict what is going to happen in the future, the first thing you need to do is to understand your data, right? Get familiar, dine with your data, all right? Then identify errors or missing values. So this is under the umbrella of your exploratory data analysis, all right? So now I mentioned this is in technical terms, what exactly you'll be doing. Then moving forward, understand patterns and trends within the data. Understand relationship. Understand that, oh, is it that when it's getting to Christmas period, you know, when it's getting to Christmas period, there will be like an increase in terms of in sales of, let's say, Christmas ornaments and Christmas trees and all. That's like a pattern. So you're noticing your organization that when it's getting to the ending of the year, you always get sales. Why? Because, okay, that's a specific season, right? That something is happening and that event is Christmas, right? So you're just trying to understand patterns, understand trends, be familiar with your data, identify errors and identify missing values. So if, okay, you are just joining us, you're going to be getting the slides and everything alongside the recording. So all you have to do is to just fill the attendance form and you'll be good to go. So just sit back and enjoy this session. All right, so moving forward, determine which variables are important and which are less significant. You know, I mentioned this is just in terms of technicality. You already have that foundational understanding of what EDA is. In simple terms, trying to understand, trying to get insight, trying to be familiar, trying to see what is going on. So ensures the data is suitable, is in suitable form before machine learning. Now I mentioned, before you even go to your predictive analytics, before you even think of machine learning, you have to explore, understand, look at your data, prepare it very well. You know, they will say as a data scientist or as a data professional, you will spend a lot of time in your EDA. All right, so let's just be patient. You get the attendance form now, right? In a little bit. All right. So I believe you can hear me clearly now. Okay, now I want to see a response in the chat that you know what EDA is, because if not, me and you will quarrel on this call. Yes, so I think you can hear me clearly now. I believe we have an understanding of EDA because I want us to move to the practical session of how you can use ChatGPT. You can leverage ChatGPT, all right, in performing your exploratory data analysis. And it's going to like save you a lot of time, a lot of stress. So the first thing, the most important thing is for you to have an understanding, right? For you to have that domain knowledge of the basic concepts. Once you are clear on that, once you are good to go, right? The other technical aspects of your code, trust me, that one will be covered. All right, so moving forward, how can I leverage ChatGPT during my exploratory data analysis. We've been talking about EDA. We've been talking about how ChatGPT is trending and all has been on and on the internet for a long time. But now, how do I leverage this in trying to explore my data, in trying to get insights, in trying to understand what is going on in my data? So let's see. All right, so suggest suitable visualization. So I want us to understand that first things first, when you are exploring your data, one way that people will understand, let's say one way that you can communicate those patterns that you are seeing, those trends, is by visualizations rather, right? Visualizations are just charts, right? They are just charts that will help you show that, oh, in this region, let's say you have different states now, then you see a bar chart that tells you that, oh, Lagos has the highest number of revenue or number of sales or number of customers. That's just what your visualization is about. It helps you, okay, give a visual representation of your data. And ChatGPT is going to help you doing this. Now, moving forward, provides probable questions for analysis. Now, we are going to be having a walkthrough. Now, I mentioned that we're going to be having a walkthrough. So this might seem strange and unclear, but just calm down. Calm down, you'll be good to go. All right. So let's say you are given a data set to work on now, and you don't know where to start from. You can just visit ChatGPT and say, hello, ChatGPT, I have a data set with the following features that I want to work on. I want you to suggest suitable questions for analysis. Then you can as well proceed and say, oh, I want you to also give me visualization and give me the corresponding code for the visualization. All right. So moving forward, providing code for data cleaning / visualization. You know, some person will be like, oh, do I have to spend a lot of years trying to learn coding, trying to understand this coding, or how will I know the code to use? So ChatGPT is now coming like your assistant, right? So when you have issues, you just have to go there and then create a prompt and you'll be good to go. So where it is important that you get, or rather you have that domain knowledge, that background knowledge, is so that when you have like a wrong code, you can always now see it and say, oh, this is wrong. This is not supposed to be here. And then you correct it. Why? Because you already have an understanding of what you're doing. Now, moving forward, code summarization and exploration, then provides clear understanding of the features in your data sets. All right. Then generating insights and recommendations from your data sets. Now, this is how ChatGPT is going to help you as a data professional. Now, moving forward, right? You know, I mentioned we'll be having a practical hands-on session, right? You're going to see, okay, all these things that we've been talking about theoretically, how exactly is ChatGPT? I know Baima has been saying this is possible, but I want her to show you, right? I want to be convinced that ChatGPT can actually help me as a data professional. Now, moving forward, we'll be working with a data set. So I think I'll just copy this. Let's see if I can copy this and send it to us. Right, let me just click on this and then copy the link and send it to the chat. Right, so if you are just joining us for the first time, you don't know how to, let's say, use this link that I'm sending, just sit back, right, and watch. So you can replicate this when you get the recording for the session, when you get the slides and the materials. You don't need to feel overwhelmed that, where am I going to start from? All right. Then also in this slide, you see a tutorial on how you can download Python. I can download and install Python, right, and our content. So you don't need to feel overwhelmed that this Python that people are always talking about, where did it come from? I thought that we are just going to do EDA. How am I going to understand all of this? So just sit back and watch, right? When you get the recording, or if you can follow along in class, you can now replicate what we are doing. All right, so moving forward, we will be going straight to Jupyter Notebook, right? Jupyter Notebook is like an ID, it's like an environment where you can perform your code, that's write out your code, and then see the corresponding outputs, that's your visuals, right? We are getting to the practical session. I want us to follow me along, all right? So all you have to do, when you click on this link, now you'll be directed on how you can install Jupyter Notebook, how you can utilize it, and all what you need in terms of, oh, I need to click on this. This is the first time I'm using Python. I have not opened it before. So this video, right, when you get this and you click on this video, is going to give you an overview. Now, when you go to your search bar and then you type Jupyter Notebook, it launches this way. This is what you're going to see, right? This is what you're going to see when you launch your Jupyter Notebook. So do not be scared. Do not be overwhelmed that, what is this? No. Now I mentioned before, calm down, right? We're on the right, we are on the good path. So when you open your Jupyter Notebook, this is the first interface that you're going to see, right? So I'm going to click on my downloads. You know, the same way you go to your laptop, and then you go to your file manager and you open your downloads. That's the same way in this interface. I'm going to come to my downloads. I'm going to click on it. Just give me a moment. Then I'm going to come to, okay, this is the folder that we're working with into this class. So you can as well use your downloads. Anyone works, but I just prefer keeping all my files in the same folder. Then the next thing that you need to do is to open a Jupyter Notebook, right? You are currently in the environment. All I have to do is to just come here, new, and then Python 3, right? So this opens up as my Jupyter Notebook. Now, when you have your notebook ready, the first thing that we need to do, because we'll be bringing in our data, and that data, right, we'll be exploring that data, right? We'll try to understand trends, we'll try to understand patterns inside the data, and then come up with visuals that we'll see. I'm not going to type, the only code I'm going to type is for my data inspection. The rest ones for, oh, okay. Let me confirm, can we see my screen? Can we see my screen? I need a response in the chat if you can see my screen. I need a one in the chat if you can see my screen. Oh, thank you, the Lakpo. Thank you, Clara. Thank you, Godwin. Oh, okay. So that means we are good. That means we are good. Now, we have successfully opened a Jupyter Notebook. All right. Then the next thing that you need to do is come to your browser. Then check for ChatGPT. You can just search ChatGPT, right, and enter. So all you have to do is to just open your blank browser and then search for ChatGPT and enter. So if you've not used ChatGPT before, all you have to do is to just prompt you to sign up. That's very, very easy, right? You just need to enter your mail and then you're good to go. Okay, so Adeza.
Yeah, Brahma, do you want to just show again how to launch the Jupyter Notebook? I think somebody missed it in the chat.
Right. Okay. So if you have Jupyter Notebook already installed, just come to your search bar, then type Jupyter Notebook. Then click on open. Right, so it's going to launch a new page in your browser. So just wait for it to load. When it loads, what do you see? It's going to just launch this in your browser as Jupyter Notebook. And note, this is like an environment for you to write your code and then look at the corresponding outputs from, okay, your prompt on your visual. I know I mentioned this is the first interface you would see. You can as well, you see this button at the top, new. You can as well just create a Jupyter Notebook from here. And Jupyter Notebook is just where you impute your code. So it's nothing for you to feel too overwhelmed. All right, but me, I want to place my own. I've created a folder already inside my downloads. So the first thing I need to do is click on downloads, right? So Onye Dikachi, I think you need to just unpin my face, right? Or swipe. If you're using it depends if you're using your phone or you're using your laptop, right? So you can see the screen clearly. Then moving forward, I've gone to my download. Now I'm going to navigate to the location where I want my folder. I want my Jupyter Notebook to be. right? So, I mentioned that these slides, you'll be getting a walkthrough video on how to, a step-by-step video on how you can download Jupyter Notebook. All right, so it is nothing too complex. Now, coming back here, all you have to do is to click on New and then a Python file. So this opens up in your browser. All right, so I'm just going to close this because we don't need it. I've already opened this new one. All right. Then I also mentioned you can just come to your browser and search for ChatGPT and you'll be good to go. Now, I want you to watch me closely because this is very, very important. Before we can go to ChatGPT now, right, to perform anything or to ask any question or to tell ChatGPT to help us, all right, you need to first bring in your data because it's the data that you want to explore now. You need to bring it into Jupyter Notebook so that Jupyter Notebook will know that this is the data that you're working on. Now, before I bring in my data, there are libraries. That's what it's called, right? Don't feel that this is too technical, right? Those libraries just help you. They have different prompts, they have different functions that help you perform manipulations. So now what we want to do is to just bring in our data into this notebook that we are working on. And now you'll be assisted by libraries. So we need to bring in those libraries. We need to tell Jupyter Notebook, we need to tell Python that, oh, these are the libraries that will help me bring in my data. I want you to activate those libraries. I hope you understand. I mentioned that before you even proceed to ChatGPT, you need to bring in your data. Now, what is going to help you to bring in that data are things called libraries, right? Those libraries will now assist you with the different prompts, right? With the different functions that you need to bring your data in. Now, so I'm just going to come here to activate those libraries, right? I need to import them into my notebook. So the first thing is import pandas. Now, pandas is a library for your computation and all, right? And for working with your data frame, right? Working with tables in Jupyter Notebook. So or in Python in general, you don't need to feel that, what's Brima saying, right? I thought this was just EDA. So this is just part of the process, all right? Now, I don't want a scenario whereby when I want pandas to help me, when I want to activate pandas, I have to type in this full pandas name. I don't want that. I don't like stress at all. So I'm going to come here and say, ask PG. I hope we understand. So that means it's just as if your name is Abraham. So I can see Akin Niyi Abraham in the chat, and then they shorten it to Niyi. So everybody will think, oh, everybody will be calling you Niyi in school. All right, that's how your alias works. So your name is Akin Niyi, but it has been aliased, or it is now as Akin or Niyi. So that's the same thing that we are doing here, right? The name of the library is Pandas, but we are now aliasing this as exactly. Dolapo is saying Tijani at TJ, right? You remember in secondary or preschool when you feel some persons have like a lot of push names, but when you see the full name, you'll be like, this is somebody's name, all right? So now the next library that we're using is import NumPy as MP. Just follow me closely, right? The name of the library that will help you, right, in our visualization is called NumPy. Now, what are you aliasing this as? So you don't have to write NumPy as a full word all the time. So import NumPy as MP. Then the next thing that you need to do, import matplotlib.pyplots as PLT. All right? That's another library. That means instead of you writing this all the time, you can just say PLT, right? You can just call TJ instead of writing Tijani. All right? Then the final one is import Seaborn as SNS. I mentioned these libraries are going to help you bring your data in. That's one, right? They're assisting you in bringing your data in. That's one. they are also helping you in performing your visualizations. All right. So after selecting all of the libraries that I need for visualizations, all you have to do is to come here. You are clicked inside the cell. Then you can come to this place and click on run. Right. It's just as if you've written now, right? You've written your code, but you want to activate that code. You want to tell Jupyter Notebook that, oh, process this code for me. So all you have to do now is to either come here and click on run. You notice it is loading, or you can click on the cell and type shift and enter. So most visualization libraries that you'll be using a lot as a data professional encompasses your Seaborn and Matplotlib. I mentioned that once you have this domain knowledge, all right, once you understand what you have to do, the way you understand exploratory data analysis in terms of concepts now, and you're just coming to do the practical session, right? That's the same way you will just know, or you can do a quick search of, oh, I'm working on these projects. What libraries do I need? But once you have this domain knowledge, trust me, you will know the libraries to bring in, rather to use, right? Now, moving forward, I have successfully brought in my functions, or rather my libraries, that are going to help me perform my exploratory data analysis, that will help me understand what is happening. Why exactly is this happening, right? Now, moving forward, we've brought in our libraries. The next thing that we need to do, all right, so let me just zoom in a bit so that it's clear for all of us. Okay, so the next thing that we need to do is to bring in your data, right? If you're just joining us, you will get a slide, a video recording on how you can download and install Jupyter Notebook, and then you'll be able to follow along, all right? Now, moving forward, the next thing that I want to do is I want to bring in my data. I have activated what is going to help me bring in my data, but now I want to do the main thing to bring in my data. Okay, so to bring in your data now, just follow me closely. The F is equal to PD, just follow me closely. I'm going to explain, dot read underscore Excel. Then I'm going to leave this like this. So just follow me closely. You can see PD here. I need a response in the chat. What does PD mean? I want to know if we are following, if I'm not just talking and that we are listening. What does PD mean? What does PD mean? Exactly. Thank you, me. That is insane, Wanda. Are you sure it's the same Python that we are using, that you are using? Exactly. I'm happy that we are following Panda. So instead of you coming here and writing pandas in full, that's too much stress. You are listing it as PD. Now, dot read underscore Excel. What does this mean? It's just that, oh, you're telling Python that you want to bring in a file, right? And then you are reading that file and you want Python to understand that file. And the file is in an Excel format. That's why you have read underscore Excel, right? If you open, let's say, an Excel sheet, right? You open it, let's say, from work or from, let's say, sales of the month, you have an Excel sheet, right? And you see that .xls to tell you that it's an Excel sheet. That's exactly why we have the read underscore Excel here. You have to specify that, oh, I am actually reading and bringing in, or rather the kind of data that I want to bring in is an Excel file. Now, somebody has mentioned what I want to discuss, DF. So it's just as if when we bring in our data now, you are storing it in a container. All right. I want to ask, if you grew up in a typical, let's use Nigerian home, right? All those ice cream cans that they keep inside the fridge or the freezer, or they use it to store things. I want to ask, if you open it, what's inside? If you go to a typical Nigerian home now and you see ice cream container inside the fridge or the freezer, what do you think you find inside? I need a response from us. What do you think you find inside? Exactly, Anthony, you're following me. You're following me. Anthony says soup. Ewedu, exactly, stored, right? So if you go to a Nigerian home and you check that ice cream container, sometimes you'll be happy that this person, this my friend, they have ice cream in their house. But when you open it, you're going to see that it is something entirely different. Now, I want us to note, it is a container, right? And you are keeping things inside that container. That's the same way this DF is. This DF is acting as a Baba, or rather, one day is saying, Badejo, rather not Baba Dejo, is saying, oh, more you'll be disappointed. Exactly, because you open it and you see something else, right? So in this container, we are storing this data that we are bringing in, right? So anytime I want to use this data now, I just have to go to that container. I just have to call that container. If it's soup, if it's ewedu, if it's salt, right? If it's salt, you just go to that container and then access it. So this container is what they call variable name, right? So now I want to go to the next line. I'm going to click on this and enter. Then I want to write variable name here, right? So we'll remember when we are going to this. I want to write variable name here, but I don't want a situation whereby it's going to affect my code, right? So all you have to do is come here, click on hash, and write variable. Df is a variable name. All right. So this hash is telling Jupyter Notebook that is telling Python that, oh, I want you to ignore this first line. No, the only code that you need to run is just this df is equals to pd.read underscore Excel. All right. So this is what you call a comment, right? You want to, let's say you visit this Jupyter Notebook later, you want to understand what is in the Jupyter Notebook, right? You want to understand what this code is. So I can actually come here and enter, then I'll insert a comment for importing the relevant libraries. All right. Now, I've gotten what I need, but I need to pass in the location. It's just as if you are saying, go into the room. Now, let's say you have a house of 14 floors, and then you are telling somebody, go into the room and get me my bag. So you want the person to go over every single room in that house and get which bag exactly. So inside this bracket, you have to specify the exact name, right? The exact location of the file you want to read in. All right. And that's called you passing in your file path or the name of the file. So all I have to do now is I'm going to come back here. The name of the data we are working with is health QS data dot XLXS. Right. Now I mentioned I cannot just go into the house and start looking for the bag in like 14 floors. No, I cannot do that. Right. You are specifying the location, the name of that bag. Now, the name of the data that we are passing in. So I'm going to come back here and type notes in quotes, health, QS data. So let me confirm again if I got the spelling. Okay, so it's a small letter S. So it's very necessary that you get the spelling correctly. If not, you're going to get an error. Then dot XLXS. So I'm going to run this again. You can either use shift and enter, or you can come back here and then run your code. All right. Now, I mentioned that you have stored it inside that container. Let's say you want to go and take soup, or you want to go and take salt or something else from that container. So you have to call the container. So that is what I'm going to do here. df. If I come and say df, now there's another function for you to, let's say, view your data, right? And it is called df.head and brackets. Just follow me. What do you notice now? First thing that we did, we activated the libraries that will help us bring in our data. That's one. Two, you stored the data inside your ice cream container. All right. And that ice cream container is called df. Then you want to view the first. Okay, by default, it shows you the first 5 rows of your data, right? And it is df.head, right? It's not your human head, all right? It's just viewing the first 5 rows of your data. All right, now we want to explore our data. So I'm just going to insert a comment here that says, the first, I believe we know what a comment is. All right. View the first 5 rows. Just give me a moment. All right, so one of you, let me just insert this comment. View the first 5 rows. Okay, so now you can see that this data has age, has attrition, has employee number, has gender, has business travel. And let's say you don't understand what all of these things are, right? So the first thing that we need to do is we want ChatGPT to help us understand this. Now, what I would suggest you do, first of all, for privacy reasons, you cannot just come and copy your data, right? And take it to ChatGPT. No, for data privacy reasons. But if you don't have like an overview of your data, you can get the column rows, the column, rather your data futures, that's your data columns, and then take it to ChatGPT and say, oh, hello, ChatGPT, I don't understand what all these futures means. Can you explain it for me? So let's do that. I want to take these columns, right? This column names, this age, attrition, employee number, gender, business, travel, department. I want to take it to ChatGPT, right? Now, there's another code that will help you get just the column. So instead of me coming here to copy everything, right, I will just come here and type to get columns. Then df dot columns. Remember, we are referring to this container. So even if you want to name this container ice cream, right, but it's something entirely different that's inside, right, you can call it any name. Now I'm going to run this. So you know I mentioned you can either hold your shift and enter or come back here and run. All right, so you're seeing the different columns: age, attrition, employee number, gender, business, travel, and all. So I'm going to copy this, highlight it, Control C, and then come to ChatGPT. Right, so let me just see if I can expand this for this to be clear for all of us. All right, I believe this is good now. Now, in the thing with ChatGPT is you have to, okay, why did you use double enter in this case? Let's see. Right, there's no reason why, it's just a space. All right, so I can backspace. I did not even notice that. So if you cannot hear me again, so just check ensure you are joining in with your audio. Okay, so I'm going to come to ChatGPT. Now, there are key techniques for you to use ChatGPT, right? One of them is for you to create a context, specify a scenario, right? It's just the same way that, oh, I can see age somewhere. I might think that it's the age of, let's say, a human being. But somebody working in a car dealership or automobiles, that might be the age of the car. Right? You know, one of the contexts is in terms of humans, and the other is in terms of cars, automobiles, right? So the first thing that you need to do is to specify the context. So you come and say, you can say, hello, ChatGPT, anyone who works. So let's use hello, ChatGPT, right? Now, specifying the context is very important. Now, what are we trying to do? Right? We are trying to perform exploratory data analysis, right? And that's one of the key things you'll be doing as a data science professional, right? So I'm going to come here and say, I want you to act as a data scientist or an experienced data scientist. Anyone works? Data scientist. So it will not really take note of my spelling error. Scientist, right? Hello, ChatGPT. I want you to act as an experienced data scientist. Full stop. I have now, after specifying the context, now then you have to now create or mention the problem. You know, the first thing, specify the context, right? I have a data set with the following futures. Control V. These are the features I just copied and pasted, right? Then I want to perform exploratory data analysis. So first thing, specify the context, that's one. Then two, specify the problem. Then what do you want ChatGPT to do? That's the action. That's the task. What you want ChatGPT to do for you. All right. I want to perform exploratory data analysis. I want you to provide me with the steps to follow, and also an explanation of the column features. Just follow me closely. Note, these are the column features that you don't understand. Now, I want you to act as an experienced data scientist, all right? That's the context one. I have a data set with the following features. I want to perform exploratory data analysis. Now, this is the problem. Then I want you to provide me with the following steps to follow and an explanation of the column features in this data. You can add in this data, it doesn't really matter. Then enter. Now, so you can see age, the age of the employees in this data. And the interesting thing is this is very, very useful when you are working with data, or you are in a team, or you're having like a business problem or a case problem that is outside of your domain, right? Outside of your prior knowledge. Let's say you're working with something on health and you don't really have an overview of different terms in health. So you can just come to ChatGPT. It's going to like be your personal assistant, right? To assist you whatsoever you're doing. Now you can see age, attrition that indicates whether the employee has left the company or not. Then a unique ID for each employee. Gender, so it explains the different column features for you. Now here are the steps to perform your EDA. So you notice, load the data into your preferred environment. Now the environment that we are using is your Jupyter notebook. Then data summary. Begin or try to explain, oh, you don't really need it. Then df.head. Remember, we've done df.head, right? So let's say you've not done EDA before and you are confused on the steps to follow, all right? This is going to help you. This is going to help you to know that, oh, I have to import my data first. Then I have to do my summary, right? Get my first 5 values, then df.info and df.describe. So let's say, for example, now you want to do df.info and df.describe, and you don't understand. This is the first time that you are seeing df.info. All you have to do is to come here. I don't understand. Or you can refer to, okay, considering data summary. Considering data summary. Now, I don't understand. So it's just as if you're having a conversation with ChatGPT. I don't understand df.info and df.describe. Right? Then enter. So let's see. It's going to give you an explanation. So you'd see this function provides a summary of the data frame, including information of the data type. So let's take this function now, df.info, right? I want us to take note of this because I want to know when you get this data, you will ask a lot of questions and they explore, right? And try to find patterns in your data. So let's come back to our data frame, our notebook, right? And type df.info, right? Exactly what ChatGPT gave us now, and run shift and enter. So I'm just going to minimize this, right? So what do you notice? It gives you a summary of your data. So what can you see? Age. That means I have 1,470 values, right? In this my age column. And the data type is an integer. All right. Then attrition. This is it, and it's an object. All right. So that is what your df.info does for you. You know, ChatGPT said that it provides you with a summary a concise summary of your data. Then the next one, df.describe, right? It generates a summary of the numerical columns in your data. So numerical just basically means number. So I'm going to come back here and type df.describe. Then shift and enter to run. So what do you notice? It's giving you like a summary of all of the numbers, the numerical column features in your data, right? This is just the basics. We are getting to the interesting parts, right? So we'll have like 1 or 2 visualizations before we have our days are back. Okay, so now they have to describe age. This is it. So the mean age, that means the average age in this organization. This is it. Then you can see employee number, the count, the difference from home, because that means the average. Let's say on an average now in this organization, right? The distance between an employee, that's the employee's office or the company's workspace, and the house, on an average, this is the value, right? So this just provides you with a summary of the numerical features in your data. Now coming back, right? Coming back to the steps that ChatGPT gave us. What do you see? Data cleaning, check for missing values or duplicates in your data. Then the next one is data visualization. So let's see. Come back here. I want to check for, you asked ChatGPT, I want to check for missing values. I want to check for missing values in my data. Full stop. Can you provide me with the code? The code for this. Note, we've already created the context of an experienced data scientist, right? So all you are now doing is you're just prompting ChatGPT and asking questions that would help you in your exploratory data analysis. Remember, if you come back to our slides, provide clearer understanding of the features in your data. Then suggest visualization. We are getting to this part now. Code summarization and explanation. Generating insights and providing code for data visualization. Okay, so now coming back, I want to check for missing values in my data. Can you provide me with the code for this? I'm going to click on this. Let's scroll back. Now, you would see, certainly you can use the pandas library in Python to check for missing values in your data set. You know, I mentioned, once you have an understanding of, you know what pandas is now, that is going to help you, right? Bring your data, right? And also have different functions that you can use to explore and manipulate that data that you've brought into your environment. So I'm going to come here. It said missing values is equals to df.isnull.sum. So I'm just coming here, just follow me closely. So you can see, assuming your data set is loaded into a data frame called df, check for missing values in the entire data frame. Now, I need somebody to tell me in the chat, right? What does this mean? Just give me a moment. This missing values that we're seeing here, what does it mean? Right, this missing values is equals to df.isnull.sum. I need to know that we are following me. What does it mean? If not, we'll quarrel. If nobody can respond to this, you are seeing missing values is equal to df.isnull.sum. Let me give you the hint. You are saving missing values, right? You are saving this into the missing values. That's a variable. So thank you, Solola. Remember when we stored the data frame, this data frame that we read? Remember when we stored it inside this container? That's exactly what is happening here, right? These missing values that we're checking for, ChatGPT is now saving it inside this container called missing values. But I don't want to save this into a new container. I just only want to check if they are missing values. So I'm just going to come here. I'm going to copy it. You know, I mentioned that I'm not going to stress myself. I don't want to write any stressful code. I want ChatGPT to just help me. Control V. I'm going to paste it here. Then let me just enter. Right, you know, to run it is either you click on the run button here and then shift and enter. So I want to insert a comment now that says check for missing values. So what does this tell you? It's telling you that, oh, in my age column, there's no missing value. In the attrition column, there's no missing value. Employee number, no missing value. So this just helps you understand your data. All right, so you are trying to find out information, you are trying to explore, Okay, so that's just what we are doing here. Now, I'm going to come back to the next step. I believe the next step was, if I scroll back up, what's the next step again? I think we'll just jot it down so we don't have to scroll back all the way up again. Let's see. Check for duplicates and then data visualization, right? So let's check for duplicates. I want to check for duplicates in my data. Duplicates in my data. In my data, right? Can you provide me with the code? So I'm going to scroll. Let's see. Now, don't feel overwhelmed. I want to ask, anywhere you see this hash symbol, what does it mean? Anywhere you see this hash symbol that you have in your data, what does it mean? I need a response in the chat. What does this mean? Exactly. I'm loving the energy. We have professionals in the house. Exactly. That's a comment. So you already know that. And it's not going to be so strange, right? So I want to check for duplicate values. I'm loving our response. I'm loving the fact that we are following. So I'm going to come here, then copy this code. Remember when it was saved into a container. So I'm just going to copy this code, Control-C, then come back to my notebook. Then if you want to insert a new cell below, right, you can click on this current cell. Then you see this plus button. Click on it. So you notice that a cell has been inserted below. If you want to insert another cell, come back here and then click on this. So I'm going to paste this in the chat. This is the code. This is what ChatGPT gave me to check for duplicate values. Then run it with. I'm going to come back here and then run this. What do you notice? It does not return any value. So this just tells you that, oh, that means in this data set, there is no duplicate value. So I'm just going to insert a comment. Check for duplicate values. Enter. Now, moving forward to the interesting part, you know, the next step that ChatGPT mentioned was after data loading and after your data summary, the next thing that you need to do is what? Your visualization. Now, in EDA, right, there's something called univariate analysis. From primary school, right, uni means one. Uni means when you are referring to one. You know, from the word unity, oneness, you're just considering one person or one future. Now, there's something called univariate analysis. So what univariate analysis does is you're only considering one variable, one column future that you're working on. Let's say, for example, now, your age. This is it. Then your attrition. You only want to understand what is happening in attrition. You only want to understand what is happening in employee number. You only want to understand what is happening in gender, right? So before I even proceed to univariate analysis, I hope we have an understanding of univariate analysis. Now, one key thing when you're doing your EDA, right? Most person, depends on you though, you can split your data, right, into numerical, that's numbers, and then categorical, right? So all this, coming back to our data, right, you notice that this is a number, age. Employee, this is another number. Then distance from home, this is a number. You can divide your data, right, into two. So I'm giving out this assignment. Prompt ChatGPT to split these column features into numerical and categorical. So for those persons that are following me, I want you to write your prompt and get the code. But we want to perform univariate analysis. You want to perform univariate analysis. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to, where did we copy our columns? This is it, right? I'm going to copy my columns. Control-C. Remember I said uni means just one. Or we can come and say, let's perform univariate analysis on age. Let's pick age first of all and perform univariate analysis on age. That means we want to explore only the age column. So I'm going to come to my ChatGPT, right? I want to perform, this is you now asking the question. I want to perform Univariate, remember I said it means just one, right? You are exploring, you are showing the relationship in just one column. Univariate analysis on my age column. Full stop. Can you suggest visualization to represent, this is me communicating with ChatGPT, to represent this, comma, can you also provide me with the code for this visual, right? Then enter. Let's see what ChatGPT is going to give us. Now, do not feel overwhelmed. So I'm just going to copy this first one, right? I'm going to copy this. Just copy it. Then come to my, you see, I clicked on copy code here. Then I came to my notebook, right? So after this, we'll have one more on attrition. That's attrition. We'll perform invariant analysis on attrition. And I want us to try this on our end. So I'm just going to paste this here. Control V. Remember, we already imported this, right? We already imported this. So I'm just going to remove it, highlight it, and backspace. Note, what did we do? We told ChatGPT to suggest for us the visualization type. So coming back here, you notice it gave us for histogram, it gave us for box plot, it gave us for kernel density, right? So let me just copy, let me copy this histogram also, so we'll see it. It's just a type of chart for visualizing, for your numerical visualization. So I'm going to come here. Remember, it suggested a box plot. So I'm going to run this, click on anywhere inside and click on run, right? Okay, so let's do the histogram first of all. I believe this might look unfamiliar to some persons, but this is a box plot, right? It helps you see the distribution of your numerical feature. If there's anything strange happening in your data, right? Just follow me. Control Shift. Just follow me closely. Remember, this is one of the visualizations that ChatGPT suggested. So I'm going to paste this again. Control V. This is the one for the histogram. Now, I'm going to run Shift and enter. What do you notice? It's telling us that, oh, that means for persons that are within 20, this is the number working in this organization, right? For persons that are within 20, this is like the distribution, that's what it's called, distribution of the age, right? Of the age of individuals in this organization, all right? So this might seem strange. This might seem cool. Somebody saying it looks like a resistor. Interesting, all right? But once you have this domain knowledge, once you have this foundational understanding, this box plot, I just told ChatGPT, right, to suggest visualization for me and then provide me with the code, right? So this is what is called your whisker, right? Then this is, I don't want to go into the department, then this is where 50% of your data is concentrated. Remember, once you have this understanding, right, you would know what this visual is for. So let's do one more. I believe we understand with the next one, because this chart is just so strange to us. I believe we understand. Let's do this one with age. I want to visualize my attrition, right? Can you provide me with the code? Or rather, can you suggest visualization? Suggest visualization. And can you provide me with the code? Remember, another thing that will help ChatGPT understand is if I come back to my attrition column, remember it was yes and no. So I can come back and come and say attrition brackets yes/no. I want to visualize my attrition, right? Can you suggest the visualization? And can you provide me with the code for this? Then enter. Let's watch. Okay. So just follow me closely. Now we understand this visualization. This one to be very clear because I'm going to ask us in the chat. So I'm going to copy this, click on this copy. Then come to my Jupyter notebook. I get that some of us are a little bit unclear with this, but if you don't understand this one, me and you, I know I mentioned we'll quarrel, right? So let me just remove this now. This is the code that ChatGPT gave us. Okay, so I'm just going to run Shift and enter. Now, who can tell me what this means? Who can tell me what this means? From this chart, what can you deduce about this organization? What can you deduce about this organization? So BK's Data Hub, right? I can see you. Now, I guess that this one was a little bit unclear because it's numerical, but what can you deduce from this visualization? What do you see? You know, I mentioned visualizations, they will help you just see your data and then get an overview. I need a response in the chat. What can you see? You are seeing, yes, attrition as there, and then no. So exactly, remember when ChatGPT gave us an overview of the data? If I come back here and I scroll up, let's go back to the top. When we did not understand the data, then it told us that indicates whether an employee has left, that's the yes, and then an employee is currently in the organization. And now our visual is telling us that, oh, people that have left, they're small compared to persons that are still in this organization. Remember, the whole essence of your EDA is to explore and understand your data. So it means that, okay, yes, these are the persons that have left, and then these are the persons that are still in this organization. So one, right, it suggested visualization for you, that's one, provided you with the code of visualization. Then let's say you don't understand this code. You can come back and say, I don't understand this code, right? And paste the code there. And you know, I copied this code initially. I don't understand this code. Then can you provide me with an explanation? All right, then enter. Let me scroll all the way to the bottom. So it's going to explain. Remember when we were talking about libraries at the beginning, import the libraries. This code starts by importing the necessary libraries. So it's going to detail everything out for you. You know, the first thing first, you have to understand what libraries are, that they help you in bringing your data in. That's how you know that, oh, whenever I see libraries anywhere, so it means that, oh, I am bringing in, I'm activating what will help me to perform my visualization and what is going to help me in my EDA. Okay, so it's going to suggest for you code, suggest for you visualizations, then help you with your code. Then once you have the domain knowledge, you know that, oh, that means, because there are some times where the code you get is wrong and you now have to debug, but you have that understanding already. And then you can clearly see that, oh, this is missing here. This is something that we need to work on. And you change it. All right, so this is where we'll be stopping for today. And the assignment that I am giving everybody on this call is, I want you to explore, ask ChatGPT a lot of questions regarding this data, and just come to Jupyter Notebook, right? And paste your code and run it, right? You know, I said all the time, worst case scenario is you close your Jupyter Notebook and open it again, but do not be afraid to explore. Okay, so I want to believe that we've had an overview of how you can utilize ChatGPT. Ensure that you are asking the right questions. So, you know, the first thing I mentioned is create a context, a scenario. That's very important, because age somewhere else, right, in terms of humans, can mean something else when you are referring to automobiles. So all you have to do is create a context first. Then, after you have created that context, define the problem. Then now specify the action that ChatGPT would work on, right? What you want ChatGPT to do for you. All right, so I hope we've enjoyed that step. So at this juncture, I'll be calling on Adeza. Adeza is the founder of 10 Analytics. So hi, Adeza, how are you doing?
Fantastic session, Brima. Wonderful. Thank you for walking us through this amazing project today. And some people have questions. I can see that from the chat, but we'll take questions towards the end of our session for today. So what I'm coming to do is very simple. Within the next 30 to 45 minutes, I'll be walking you through what you need to get started. Now, Brima started by giving us analogies to explain what exploratory data analysis, EDA, what it means. So let's find out, those that were listening to Brima and those that have learned one or two things from Brima's session. What is Brima, you can stop sharing so people don't get expo from your slides. All right. So Brima, I want you to tell us what you have learned by answering the question, what is exploratory data analysis? I want one person to speak. And if you want to respond, you can use the hand raise icon. I'll allow you to unmute yourself and let's hear from you. What is exploratory data analysis? Who can answer that question? Who wants to try? Who is bold enough to tell us what they think? What is exploratory data analysis? Okay, Peter, I can see Peter says me in the chat. So Peter, I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself. Okay, I'll ask you to unmute yourself. Now, and this is in your own words. You don't have to use specific terminologies. In your own words, what is exploratory data analysis? Go ahead, Peter.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, go ahead, loud and clear.
Right? Yes, I think is examination and visualization so as to understand the pattern, catalytic, and of course, the pattern, the characteristics, of course, what happened
of the data, right?
Data, yeah.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Peter, I think I love the way you started by saying the examination. All right. So you're examining, you're exploring, you're diving into the data. You want to know what the data is all about. And that's the whole essence for carrying out exploratory data analysis. Now, if you listen to Brima when she started and the analogy she gave, you are in the market, you find yourself in the market, and then you see everybody running, people running in a particular direction. There's a tendency to want to run as well. However, there is that one person that would ask the question, what happened? Why are we running? Okay, so you want to find out, what is this all about before you even start implementing any other thing. So you want to build a machine learning model. You want to carry out a simple descriptive analytics. You must always start with your exploratory data analysis to know what it's all about, what your data is all about before you start building on top of that. So it's a very critical part of data science. And I'll walk you through what you need. As an individual, there's no better time to get into data science than today. And I'll walk you through some of the skills you need to have to do what Brima just did, what she did in the last 1 hour, and even take it a step further. And how do you compete for the best jobs available across different regions across the world? I'll also be walking you through that. There are certain reasons why people struggle to get jobs or people struggle to transition into the data science career path. But with all the demand and all the opportunities available, why is it still so difficult for some people to transition? I'll also walk you through that as well for the benefit of those who perhaps have the skill, but then again, they really cannot get a job. They've tried and tried, but they cannot get a job. And there are some other people you'd find that they're totally new, but you want to compete for the best jobs out there. You want to go to the UK, you want to go to Canada, the US, different countries across the globe, and you want to get a job that has good career projections, good prospects with regards to your career journey as a professional. You don't want to do the menial jobs. You don't want to do the care jobs. You don't want to work in the warehouse and so on and so forth. So what are the skills required for you to start to make the transition? And you don't need to have studied anything specific. When I came initially to introduce myself, I'm not sure if I mentioned that. My first degree was in industrial chemistry. I studied nothing related to tech, nothing related to computer science. I studied industrial chemistry. And for the last decade of my professional career, I've been doing data analytics. So how can you also get into a similar career path with a learning partner? And I'll emphasize a whole lot on the learning partner, simply because when I was making the transition about 10 years ago, it was very difficult. Okay, what's Python? Is Python going to bite me? What the hell is Python? What is you find yourself, we found ourselves in different situations where we were doing everything we could lay our hands on, watching every video we could lay our hands on, but they were very unnecessary and they wasted a lot of our time. Okay, so it took me about 2 years to transition, learning some of the things I was learning at that point in time were relevant. Most of them, about 80% of them, were irrelevant. And most of you would find yourself in that particular situation. You are watching and learning everything that is completely irrelevant to you making that transition. So where do you start and how do you start your journey? So first of all, you want to even know what a data scientist do. What is the role of a data scientist? So as a data scientist, what will you be involved in? Number one, you are responsible for extracting insights from data. Responsible for extracting insights from data to help businesses, to help companies, organizations make data-driven decisions. All right, so Brima showed us, she came up with a data set, brought it into her Jupyter notebook, and then we could all see the columns, the age, the attrition, the gender, and so on and so forth. But what does that mean to anybody? It means nothing. The only way that data starts to make sense, and you can take decision as a company, you know what happened in the past, you know what is happening today and what will happen in the future, you can then start to take decisions, and that's the role of a data scientist. So you get data that can look very complex, both structured and unstructured data. So what is structured and unstructured? You saw the data Brima worked with in rows and columns. When you have your data in rows and columns, you have data that is structured. It is structured in the sense that you can fit it into rows and columns. Now, when you have data that cannot be fitted into rows and columns, that's what you refer to as unstructured data, which is more difficult to work with because you need specific advanced set of skills to work with unstructured data. So for example, unstructured data would be audio. So you receive an audio file. How do you analyze the audio file? Can you fix an audio file into rows and column? The answer is no. But audio files are also data generated. You'll notice that nowadays, for those who make content or you upload different videos on Instagram, you have automated captions. How do you think those captions are generated? You don't need to do anything. All you have to do is upload the audio, and as you speak, you have the captions generated. So how do you develop models that can listen to audio and come up with solutions? Handling those type of data, which is unstructured, requires specific set of skills, which the data scientists would definitely need to have. All right. So the data scientists work with both structured data, similar to what Brima worked with today, and also unstructured data like your audio, your video files, and so on and so forth. They're also data. And that's the essence of a data scientist. That's what they do for companies. Every company today, there's never been a time as critical now where you need data scientists. No organization would, survive or achieve reasonable growth without the help of a data team, not just a data scientist, but a data analyst, a data engineer, and so on and so forth. Every organization needs that. So the data scientist takes data that looks like this. This is a structured data, similar to what Brima showed us today, and transforms that data into something that looks like this, that is easy for anybody looking at it to understand and make decisions. Now, looking at just the chart, just the data, the snapshot of the data that you have here, it's difficult for you to deduce anything or to make any informed decision out of it. And I could ask a simple question, and let's play this. If you joined my session yesterday, then you must have seen this. So don't answer the question. But if you are joining today for the first time, then I want you to respond to this question. Now, looking at the left-hand side where you have a snapshot of the data set, my question to you is, when is the preferred month of travel? So this data set contains data from customers and when they would like to travel. All right. So my question is, when is the preferred month of travel? That's my question to you. If you know the answer to that, within the next 5 seconds, type it into the chat. If you know the answer to that, type it into the chat. I can bet I'll give you about maybe 1 minute and you can start to figure it out. Okay. Now, difficult to tell. Absolutely. Now, let's look at this. All right. I'll ask that same question. When is the preferred month of travel? When do customers want to travel? So look at the chart carefully and tell me, when do you think customers would like to travel? I know it's not very bold, but I don't know if I can maximize this. Sorry. Okay, I can see some. So let me maximize this a bit. All right. So you can see it a bit better now. So tell me, when is the preferred month of travel? Just looking at the chart, everybody would get it. Everybody would get this because it is clear. Somebody has taken that data that looks confusing and converted it into something that is visually appealing, and we can take decisions. If we want to know when to organize travel packages for our customers, we know that we organize that in the month of December because that is what the data is telling us. So this is a typical example of taking data and transforming it into something that can help us take decisions or make decisions within an organization. And this is one of just so many skills that a data scientist would have. All right. So what do you need to learn to do things like this? What do you need to learn to do things like Brimer did and become sought after by organizations across the globe? Like I mentioned, about 10 years ago, I've known about data science, just like some of you are learning about data science, perhaps for the first time today. Some of you have always heard about data science, buzz about getting into tech and so on and so forth. But then you're in a different career path entirely, and then you don't really get interested or get involved. But I'll tell you for a fact that over the last 10 years, the decision to get into tech has been the best decision I've ever taken in my life. It's been transformative, and I've worked with some of the biggest organizations across the globe. I speak and people would want to listen to me, just like a whole lot of you are here today to listen, and not just individuals like yourself, captains of industries, directors, owners of companies, the vice president of Nigeria, and so on and so forth. Why? For somebody who has the ability to analyze data, you have skills that are high in demand. You have skills that are not very common, and you'd always be needed by organizations. All right. What you need to start as a data scientist, you don't know anything. You've never been in tech before. You are doing, maybe you're a primary school teacher, you're a secondary school teacher, you work as a professor in the university or as a lecturer. How do you transition? First of all, you need to learn the fundamentals. Okay, the fundamentals of data science is hinged around statistics. Now, when people hear statistics, they get scared. I've always, people would say that I've been running away from statistics from high school, and now I'm coming back to face statistics. But then again, how did you learn statistics? And how will you learn statistics this time around? And that's the major difference. One of the things we do at 10 Analytics is project-based learning. Project-based learning. So you're not learning the mean, the median, and the mode. For example, everybody learns the measure of central tendency. What is the mean? What is the median? And what is the mode? We all learned that in high school. But how is that relevant in the real world? Can anybody tell me how learning mean, median, and mode, or the measure of central tendency, how is that ever relevant? It's difficult for any reasonable person to say, oh, this is what you use it to do. However, as a data scientist, it is very, very important for you to know the application of the mean, the median, and the mode. When to use the median, for example, when to use the mean, when to use the mode, to help you identify something as simple as anomalies in your data sets. And that's the way you would learn. You would learn about the mean and apply it in the real world to solving real life problems. And statistics, when you hear machine learning, you hear predictive analytics, predicting into the future to know what is likely going to happen. They are all hinged around statistics. So you can't start a data science journey without learning statistics. And this is one of the mistakes people make, I beg your pardon, and why so many of them have interacted with them across different locations. In the UK, in Nigeria, you find so many Nigerians, so many Africans, so many people starting by learning Python. Python is one of the last things you want to learn. Why? Because you need to understand the fundamentals. So it's like building a house, but you're building the house from the roof. You build from the foundations, or even before the foundation, you need to have a land, you do the survey, some people would dig up, you have the foundation, you have the plan, and so on and so forth. And then you start building on top of that. Okay, so people start by learning Python, which is absolutely wrong. You start by learning the fundamentals, which is statistics. And that's the first thing you need to know. So I'm giving you a snapshot and an overview of how you transition into data science. Anybody, irrespective of what you do today, your previous career journey. We've had a farmer who joined our program from Nigeria, currently works remotely for a company in Europe as a data scientist. We have somebody who has always worked fresh out of the university, had never worked before, currently works all the way from Niger State in Nigeria, working for a company in the US. How did they do it? After learning statistics, you then go to learn the Excel and Tableau. But this time around, not the Excel you've always learned. So it's interesting when people say, oh, as a data scientist, do I need Excel? Absolutely. You need Excel, but not the typical Excel every other person would learn. As a data scientist, your Excel is focused on predictive analytics. You are learning how to use Excel to forecast and predict the future, right? So you'd learn things like different forecasting techniques, linear regression, exponential smoothing, moving average, the naive approach to forecasting, and so on and so forth. And you'll be shocked that a whole lot of things you'd need to do in a typical work environment, you can do them using Excel. And you only do the complex stuff using tools like Python, Tableau, and so on and so forth. So you'd learn Excel and learn Tableau for predictive analytics. All right. So I haven't talked about Python now. Everybody's, waiting to listen and hear, oh, how will you talk about data science without speaking about Python? First of all, data science is not hinged on Python. Python is one of the tools you'd eventually learn as a data scientist. Okay. But that's not the first tool you'd learn. No, you learn statistics, you learn Excel, you learn Tableau for predictive analytics, and then you learn SQL, structured query language. For anybody in data, as long as you have data attached to your title, data analyst, data scientist, data engineer, you can't run away from SQL. SQL is that language that enables you interact with databases. So as a professional working with organizations, either remotely or you're working on premises, you'd find out that these organizations have their data in a database. They don't have their data in Excel files or CSV files and so on and so forth. They have their data in a database. And to interact with a database, you need to understand SQL. So that SQL is one of the fundamental skills you need to have as a data scientist to interact with databases, to connect your Jupyter notebook, what Brimer used today and showed you to connect your Jupyter notebook to a database, to connect your Excel, to connect your Tableau to a database, and so on and so forth. So SQL is very, very crucial, very important as a data scientist. And then you move into Python. All right, you move into Python. So Python is fundamental as well. Python is very, very important for you as a data scientist. In fact, you can't be a data scientist without the knowledge of Python, because the exploratory data analysis you carried out today, you'll do that using Python. All right, to build your machine learning models to help to predict and see what would happen based on different variables changing here and there, you'd also need to use Python. All right, and I'll show you some very interesting projects that you'll be building, from machine learning to computer vision projects. Something very interesting, okay? Something very, very interesting. I'll show you some of those projects that you'll be building in our data science program. So once you've learned Python, Python is that language that you would use to do a lot of your analysis, to manipulate data, to wrangle data, to create machine learning models, both supervised models, unsupervised models, and so on and so forth. Once you've learned Python, you can then build machine learning models. All right, so you learn machine learning, and then you learn computer vision. So you build a program using computer vision. And for me to explain, or even for you to start to get a sense of what computer vision is all about, let's take these two examples. The first one is, I'm going to stop sharing. If you can see my screen, tell me, what do you think I have behind my back? Guess. I want somebody to guess. You can see the Analytics background, correct? I don't have a banner behind me. All I did was virtual background. I used the Analytics logo for my background. But do you think I have stuff behind my back or not? Yes or no? Do I have stuff behind me? Yes or no? My seat, yes. Vivian says yes, I have my seat. Absolutely. David says yes. Akini says yes. My seat, absolutely. So I have my seat. I have my bag. I have a heater. I have so many things behind me, but you would never see it. Even though I haven't blocked behind me, there is nothing behind me. But why am I the only person you can see on the screen? This is a typical example of computer vision program at work. Okay, so there is a program that identifies the human being, that can identify my hands, identify my face, and everything everything behind me at my background would be taken away, and only the person in front of the camera can be seen. That's a typical object detection program, and you'll be building something like that. And I'll show you some of the things our student built in class, a computer vision program for hand detection, pose detection, and so on and so forth. Very interesting, fantastic project. So just to give you a hint of what a computer vision program would look like. Again, you all have mobile phones, your iPhones, your Androids, and you have screen record or facial recognition, face recognition. You put your phone in front of your face and it unlocks your phone. Okay, that's another typical example of a computer vision program. You'll be building that in class as well. Looking at these snapshots, this is how you transition into data science, from statistics to Excel and Tableau for predictive analytics and forecasting. You learn SQL, structured query language, to interact with databases. You learn Python. What is a pandas library? Who can remember? Let's see. Who remembers what's the alias or what's the short form for pandas based on what Brimer taught us? So if you import pandas as PD. Fantastic. So we have people that were listening. So you would understand those fundamentals. What's a library? What is pandas? What is NumPy, Matplotlib, Seaborn, and so many other libraries that you get to work with. All right. So you build a project, so many projects, machine learning projects, computer vision projects. And like I mentioned earlier, it's a project-based learning approach. And when you are done with all of this, you can call yourself a master data scientist. So these are the stack, the different skills you need to learn. And we call it the full stack because it's not a typical data science program where you only know how to use Python to do stuff. So you've learned only Python to do machine learning, maybe computer vision and so on. No, but you're also adding SQL, you're adding Excel, you're adding Tableau, and of course, the most important, you are also learning statistics. And this is what gets you into the data science space. And of course, I've also listed them out for you here as well. So when you receive the slide, you have, a step-by-step guide on what exactly you need to learn, from statistics to forecasting and predictive analytics with Excel, Tableau, SQL, Python, EDA, exploratory data analysis, what Brima showed us today, which of course you'll be doing using Python, machine learning, and computer vision. Now, what's the typical salary of a data scientist across the major economies? In the UK, for example, per annum on the average, according to Indeed.com, Indeed.co.uk, £50,000 per annum on the average. In Canada, is about 94,000 Canadian dollars, and in the US, six figures, 121,000 US dollars. Now, the interesting part is, how long does it take for you to learn to become a data scientist? 4 months of project-based learning. And I would emphasize on the project-based learning. So apart from all these skills that you would learn, you'd also learn ChatGPT for data science. Now, we live in a world today where, like I mentioned, there's never been a better time to be in data science than now. You don't stress yourself as much anymore, all right? Understand the skills, understand the fundamentals, and the world is at your beck and call, because every single thing you need to do, you have an assistant that can help you do it. And I want everybody to just think about this, okay? Just think about it for a second. What we can see with ChatGPT today, or let me ask this question before I give my comments, all right? Has anybody on the call used ChatGPT 4.0? So what Brima used today is the free version of ChatGPT 3.5. Have you used 4.0? Anybody? If you've used 4.0, just type in yes into the chat. If you've used 4.0, type in yes into the chat. Oh, 4.0 is fantastic. Fantastic. It is unbelievable. The first time I tried using it, and this is me who has been in data science for a decade, I called the co-founder of Tenalytics and I said, wow, this is a game changer. It is a game changer. ChatGPT 4.0, and this is the dumbest ChatGPT would ever be. So imagine the internet 20 years ago, what the internet was like, or imagine the way vehicles were 30, 40 years ago. Now imagine vehicles today. So the ChatGPT you see today is the dumbest version of ChatGPT. All right, you get more advanced, sophisticated ways of doing things using ChatGPT. Okay, and I think at the end of the session, follow us on YouTube. We have a couple of materials that'll be very interesting for you to watch on using the paid version of ChatGPT and what it can do. It's absolutely phenomenal. All right, so you would learn that, because one of the things we also ensure that we bring to bear as a company is you move with the trend, and the new technologies, you also bring them on board. So you'll find out during your interactions with different stakeholders in different organizations. I interact with recruiters almost every day, and they'll tell you, or hiring managers, that I'm not looking for somebody who is an expert in the use of Python. No, you don't have to be an expert. You don't have to be an expert in SQL, writing SQL queries. I need somebody that is a good prompt engineer. Okay, and who is a prompt engineer? Somebody that can write the correct prompts to get the desired results out of ChatGPT. Because if you can do this and you have understanding of Python, you have understanding of Excel, you have understanding of SQL, there is nothing you cannot do as a data scientist. All right. And that's why we had to introduce ChatGPT into our program. You can't go as a data scientist without having the skill to leverage tools that would make your work more efficient and also effective at the same time. And also Microsoft Fabric for data science. So Microsoft Fabric is also a new technology designed, recently launched by Microsoft. So it's simply an all-in-one platform whereby Microsoft is simply, because Excel is Microsoft, right? Tableau is not Microsoft, but you have different Fabric materials from your Excel to, you have a Microsoft SQL server for you to write your SQL queries. And you also have today in the Microsoft Fabric, you have the opportunity to write your Python codes in the Fabric environment instead of even using a Jupyter notebook, just like what Brima used today. So organizations are starting to adopt Microsoft Fabric internally and migrating into it, simply because if I have all my analytics solutions in Microsoft Fabric, I don't need to have them, segmented here and there. And that's the beauty of having the skill, because you become so competitive and you stand out from the competition. So we had to add it to the program as well. So as a data scientist, you must understand how to leverage the power of Microsoft Fabric. So you'd learn in a project-based environment for 4 months, 3 months project-based classes. So you work on projects every single Saturday when you have a class. And on Sundays, you have something we call the Watch Me Do It video. So you watch some videos to understand some concepts. What is a library, for example, different fundamentals in statistics, measure of central tendency, and so on and so forth, univariate analysis and things like that. You learn them watching bite-sized videos on Sundays, and on Saturday, you get to work on projects. And that's the best way of learning. Because at the end of the day, all the projects you've worked on would culminate into your experience, your work experience. And I'll come back to speak about that, because I talked about the fact that the reason why people cannot get jobs today is simply because they lack experience, number one, and so many other things, which I'll show you how to cover up for those areas where you'd likely fall short. Now, once you are done with your 3 months project-based classes, you then move into the internship. So you have to intern with us. And what does the internship look like? So you work with us in a project-based environment, working on projects you're likely going to meet in the real world. So it's not the way you learn in the university. No matter where you are learning, in the UK, in Canada, in the US, all the things you learn in school are not practically applicable in the real world. So how do you build and get skills to apply on the first day of the job as a data scientist? How do you apply skills to solve problems for real companies? Every organization wants somebody that will hit the ground running. No organization, maybe in some parts of Africa, you tell them that, during the interview, they ask you what do you stand to bring to the table? And you tell them that, I would love to learn and grow with the company. And that's one of the mistakes people make. For example, here in the UK, you would never get a job telling a prospective employer that you would also want to learn in the company, grow in the company, and so on. Everybody wants somebody who wants to hit the ground running. You are coming in with a set of skills to help us solve problems. Well, you're not going to learn at our own expense. You're not going to grow at our own expense, as a new employee. We want to know that you can come in and make an impact, and then growth and learning would come afterwards. So 1 month project-based internship where you get to work on 4 key projects and you add to your portfolio. Second reason why people don't get job is because you don't have proof of work. There is no proof that you've done it before. There is no proof that you've solved this type of problems and how good you are. And once you don't have that proof, you're pretty much just wasting your time, all right? So that's the way you learn with us. Like I said, you have your classes. On Saturday, you have your live classes. If you're in Nigeria, for example, in the UK, your class would start 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. every Saturday. If you are in a different region where you have a different time zone, For example, you're in Canada or you're in the US, your class would happen in the evenings, 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. West African time. So in the UK, for example, 4 p.m. would be around 11 a.m. in the US or in Canada. So rather than joining a class where you have to wake up at 5 a.m., because if you join the morning class where you have the class starts at 11 a.m., 11 a.m. in the US is around 4 a.m., 3 a.m., which is very odd for you to join a class at that point. So we have 2 classes that happens every Saturday to accommodate you wherever you're joining us from. All right. And on Sundays, like I said, you don't have a live class. You have the Watch Me Do It videos, bite-sized videos that would help you understand the fundamental concepts. Now, once you've learned all the skill, you then start to move towards the job application process. You want to get a job, either remotely or wherever you are. You are in the US, you are in Canada, you are somewhere in Europe. You want to get a job, right? You want to search for jobs that are broad and give you wider opportunities, rather than searching for only data science roles or searching for jobs that have the title data scientist, which is a mistake a lot of people make. So yes, I've learned data science, so my focus is on searching for only data scientist roles. However, you can get a job as a machine learning engineer, ML engineer. You can get a job as a data analyst. And I saw a question on the difference between a data analyst and a data scientist. I'll come to that when we get to questions and answers. All right. The difference is very simple. The data scientist takes things a little bit further, or maybe I should just explain that before I quickly come back, because it's a question that is always recurring. All right. So what I'll do, I'll go back to the slide here. I'm not sure I have it here, but I'll bring it up. I'll bring it up to explain. But just to give you a hint on one major difference between the data analyst and the data scientist. Remember, we said the data scientist focuses on what? Descriptive. So you describe your data. Descriptive. I was about to type, spell describe. So descriptive analytics, number one. Diagnostic. Brima mentioned this when she started, right? Descriptive is what happened. You want to find out what happened. How much did we sell in January? How much revenue did we generate in Q1 and Q2 2022? How much revenue did we generate in Q1, Q2, and Q3 2023? You want to know what happened. That is descriptive analytics. Answering the question, what happened? Diagnostic means you are going deeper to find out why it happened or how it happened. Okay. Also, if you remember the analogy Brima gave at the beginning, people are fighting. You'd ask what happened. Okay, you want to know what happened. That's descriptive analytics. How much did we make? What was our revenue last month? What happened? When you move to diagnostic analytics, you are answering the question why it happened. Why did we generate 5 billion in Q1 2023? What led to that increase or rise in revenue? Why are they fighting? Okay, so diagnostic means you're answering the question why something happened. As a data analyst, your focus is on descriptive and diagnostic. As a data scientist, you're going to do descriptive, you're going to do diagnostic, and then you'd also do predictive. And what is predictive analytics? Predictive analytics is telling the future what is likely going to happen in the future. So you have to predict, you'd have to forecast, you'd have to build machine learning models to look into the future. You'd have to use your Excel to forecast using different forecasting techniques to see into the future based on historical data. All right. And predictive analytics, of course, like I mentioned, is hinged around statistics. This is one of the major differences between a data scientist and a data analyst. Another major difference, again, is the type of data they work with. A data analyst would work with structured data. And if you remember carefully, I mentioned that structured data is data you can put into rows and columns. A data scientist would work with both structured data and unstructured data. Because remember, is that data scientist that will build the computer vision program that can only identify my face, my body, my pose, my hands, without identifying anything else behind me, even though I have stuff behind me. All right, so video, audio are all unstructured data. So just two differences, just hold them, and that gives you a clear picture of what the scope of the work of a data analyst and a data scientist. So data analyst works with descriptive and diagnostic. What happened, why it happened. A data scientist would work with what? Descriptive, diagnostic, and predictive. Predictive, what is likely going to happen. A data analyst only works with structured data, while a data scientist would work with both structured and unstructured data. Okay, and I hope I answered that question. So as a data analyst, you don't need to learn Python because predictive analytics is hinged around using Python to build machine learning models and so on and so forth. So let's move further. Like I mentioned, you have fraud analyst. You can apply to jobs as a fraud analyst, pricing analyst, market research analyst, logistic analyst, supply chain management analyst, sales analyst, data analyst, data scientist. All right. And that's the beauty of a data scientist. You have a wide array of different jobs that you can apply to. And we always tell our participants this when they join our program. Look, you have a wide array of jobs, and we show them how to search and apply to these jobs. When you search for only data science roles, you limit yourself to a particular set of jobs that you can apply to. There's a wider array of jobs that you need to consider. Now, why do people struggle to get jobs? And a lot of people, a lot of you here on the call today would fall into these three buckets. The first one is the lack of skills and structured learning approach. Okay, and a typical example is YouTube. I learn on YouTube. It's good. You have so many content, so much content, but YouTube is not the best place to start. As somebody getting started in data science, is the place for you to add to the skills you already have. Okay, so for example, you want to work on a particular project. Oh, I want to work on a deep learning project. Deep learning projects on YouTube. You have the fundamental, and that's simply because most of the learning you'd find are not structured. So you don't have a structured learning approach. You find people learning Python, like I mentioned, and they're learning, learning to become data scientists, but they're starting from Python rather than from the fundamental, which is statistics. Okay, so always remember this. It's like you're building a house, but you're building it from the roof. That house would never stand. And you find people who tell you that, oh, data science is very difficult, simply because they have a fractured approach to learning to become data scientists. So that's the first key area where people, they don't have the required skill and they don't have a structured learning approach. Secondly, there is no proof of work. So they explain how good they are, how fantastic they are, but where's the proof? Where's your portfolio? Can you show me a project you've worked on? Can you show me projects so I can assess the quality of the projects you've worked on? No proof, and then they cannot showcase their skills because they don't have proof of work. The last point is you don't have experience, and also you don't have interviewing skills. Because trust me, it's not the most intelligent person that gets the job. It's the person that is able to sell him or herself during the interview that gets the job. Okay, so interviewing itself is a key skill you need to have as long as you're looking for a job. All right, and this is something we also bring to bear, and we add to our suite of programs that we offer. Every program you join, it's compulsory you be a part of all our additional employability services. And I'll be showing you what they all contain, the additional employability services. What does it entail? And why is that the reason why we have succeeded as a company? We've helped so many people also achieve their dreams of transitioning into tech. Over 1,000 people within the last 3 years have been able to transition across the globe. And I'll share some of their success stories with you before we wrap up today. How did they start? What did they do? How did they prepare for their interview? And so on and so forth. So these are the 3 key reasons why people struggle. And we have seen, we've been in the industry for so many years, worked with some of the biggest organizations and partnered with some of the biggest organizations to also help Africans and people of the Black community to transition. You go into organizations here and you find just a particular ethnic group dominating the entire tech space. And you don't have somebody that looks like me holding any meaningful position within that organization. It's really frustrating. And you only get to realize that when you get a job outside the shores of your home country. I'm a Nigerian, for example, coming into the UK, working in the UK, and I don't have anybody that looks like me working in that same organization. And then I have so many other people out there that I know that are working in the warehouse. Some of them bankers from Nigeria coming into the country and they're doing warehouse jobs. That's also something that I think the narrative, and that's why for us at Analytics, we are changing that narrative and also sharing the awareness that, look, there is a better career path for you to start to make those changes. All you need to do is learn the skill, number one. The other parts for getting the job, which requires your CV and so many other additional employability services, we will handle that and show you how to get it done. But learn the skill, that's number one. And that's why so many people choose us at Analytics to learn with us. So if you ask the question, I can learn this anywhere, but why learn with Analytics? Part of the reasons why people come to us is our curriculum up to date. You saw ChatGPT for data science. You saw Microsoft Fabric for data science. You have your curriculum designed by professionals, not people that have worked, that have learned on YouTube or have learned on Udemy coming to teach you, but people that have done the job and they've worked with some of the biggest organizations as well. So you have your curriculum designed by those professionals that would walk you through so many areas. You also have the best professionals that you'd not only learn from their technical abilities, but you'd also learn from their experience. Okay, so how is this done in this particular region? All right, so you learn from the best professionals. You have a blended learning approach. So you are learning by doing what? You don't learn every day. You don't have to come to class every day. You are working, you are learning using projects. And then on Sundays, you have a self-paced version of your learning where you don't have to join a live class. You have the opportunity to watch your video at your own convenience. And for some people, they even spread the videos across the week. They get the videos on Sunday, they watch Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, bits and pieces until the next class on Saturday. Additional employability services. This is the most important bit. If you ask me why people come to Analytics, this forms 90% of the reason, right? And I'll show you the reason. I'll show you why that is the case. And this is the only reason why people have been able to transition and they've been so successful in making that transition as well. Without this, you cannot get a job anywhere across the globe as a data scientist. Your technical skill would only get you this far. But to crack and push the door open, you need a set of other skills to get into that level, especially if you are competing for jobs across the major economies in the UK, in the US, across Europe, in Canada, and so on and so forth. And like I said, I'll showcase and show you some of the success stories of people that have done that. And of course, you also get to intern with us, which is also very, very valuable for you because that's where you build your projects and show your proof of work. And all of these gets you into becoming a data scientist at the end of the day. Now, what is this additional employability services that you need to have? Your technical skill represents 50% of what is required. The additional employability skill forms the other 50%. And what are they? First of all, your CV. Now, you don't have a good CV. You don't have a CV that represents you in the best form possible. You'd struggle to get a job anywhere. First of all, you'd fail during the ATS because your CV would go through an ATS system, applicant tracking system, that matches the keywords in your CV to the keywords on the job description or job requirements. So that's the first place you'd fall short. if you don't have the right CV and you don't know how to match and tailor your CV to the job requirement. So that's one of the first things you do during the employability services, would show you how to tailor your jobs. If you are one of those people that use one CV to apply to 100 jobs and you are surprised why you never get called for interviews, this is one of the reasons. You don't know how to tailor your CV, you don't know how to do your job matching, and so on and so forth. We'll show you how to do that. Secondly, LinkedIn optimization. LinkedIn is absolutely critical to you making that switch as well. And LinkedIn is your number one social proof. So if you want to create proof to show that, look, I'm a data scientist, I've worked on this project, that project, LinkedIn is your number one social proof. And one of the things we also show you how to do is how to position all the projects you've worked on LinkedIn. And if we have enough time, I'll show you what people are doing. But if we don't have enough time for me to show you, go on LinkedIn and just type Tenalytics. Search for Tenalytics, right? And click on people. And then you see all the people that have joined our program and the amazing stuff they are building. No organization would look at their CV and go to their LinkedIn profile and see a mismatch. No, they would see that, look, the same person on the CV is the same person on LinkedIn, and they definitely have experience in that particular career path. Upwork optimization. Okay, some of you would not want to move out of your country. You want to get remote jobs, working out of different countries and working in the major economies across the globe, earning in dollars, earning in euros, spending in naira, or spending in your own respective currency. So Upwork optimization is also very, very important. If you don't have an Upwork profile, would help you create one. If you have one, we help you optimize. Navigating the job market. Navigating the job market, this is where we show you the different ways you can apply to jobs. Why you shouldn't just apply to jobs anyhow, how to identify the opportunities if you're in the UK, how to identify opportunities if you're in Canada, what are the different visa pathways you can consider as a tech professional, the global talent visa in the UK, for example, the tech pass program in France, and so many other countries. How do you take advantage of these opportunities? Do you know that moving from a tier 2 visa from a tier 4 visa to a tier 2 visa is a point-based system? You need to get 70 points, and this is how you get the points. So all these things are what we bring to bear during navigating the job market. You have your recommendation and reference letters that we also provide to you, because organizations would want to see that you have a reputable organization that can vouch for you, that they've worked with you before, you have good character, you don't have any disciplinary issues, you are not dismissed or sacked from that organization. So because they don't know who you are, so they'll do as much as they can to get recommendations from people they can place their hands on, right? We also help you with interview and job preparation. Remember, I mentioned that it is almost impossible for you to get a job without covering all these aspects. Very, very difficult. So how do you prepare for interviews? How do you know the type of questions you're likely going to get when you're applying or interviewing for a data science role? And these are some of the things we help you do during your job and interview preparation session. You have the weekly mentorship sessions every Thursday evenings, where you have industry experts, myself, the co-founder, and so many other industry experts come to help you address certain issues that you might be facing, because some of you would be new to transitioning. Some of you would have been in the space, but the only problem is you cannot get a job. So somebody yesterday during the mentorship was telling me that I applied to 2 jobs and he scaled the first stage, scaled the second stage, and then they ghosted him. And he was asking, what do I need to do? And he was surprised when I told him that, look, ghosting is a part of the process. You've only been ghosted twice. Expect a whole lot more ghosting to come up. So you need somebody to tell you that, look, it is normal. It is not because you are inadequate. You definitely face those, ups and downs as a professional when you're trying to transition. You need that person, that expert, that industry expert to let you know that, look, the best of us also faced and we all passed through the same process. And of course, you have on-the-job support. You've gotten a job, you need somebody to help you have a soft landing so that you don't struggle eventually. We work with you to help you do that. So with all of this, from number 1 to number 6, the mentorship sessions and the on-the-job support, this is Tenalytics. This is the difference between Tenalytics and everybody else out there. All right. And all you have to do, go on our LinkedIn, go on our Instagram, Facebook, X, all our different social media platforms, and see the amazing stuff we have been doing across different regions. Please just give me 1 second and I'll be right back with you. I need to get the door. Somebody's at the door. Just 1 second. I'll be right back. Okay, so let's go on. So once you are done with all of this, you then move into the internship. So all our different programs come with internship. So you have a virtual internship. And like I said, this is where you get to work on projects that would help you. You get to work on projects that would help you simulate what would happen in the real world. All right. And that's the beauty of the virtual internship. And you add that to your CV as well. Damilola, are you on the call? Are you here? Okay, I'm not sure if Damilola is still here. Damilola, if you are here, please. Yes, I need you to unmute yourself. Okay, so I'll need you to continue explaining the projects that you'll get to work on, and I'll be right back in about 1 minute. I checked the door, I didn't find anybody, but then somebody's knocking again one more time. So I'll be there in the next 2 minutes. Okay, so just continue. I'll walk them through some of the projects that they would work on. All right?
Okay. All right. So hello guys. For the data, please confirm you can hear me clearly.
Yes, you can.
All right, thank you. So for some of the projects that you're going to be working on the data science, in the data science program, it includes the United States crude oil exports data set, case study. And one thing that I want you to understand is that when you are working on case studies at Tenalytics, they are real life case studies. Okay, so these are case studies that have been curated to give you a real life experience. You're not just going to be working on just any case study. They are real life case studies. So this is one, United States crude oil exports. This is where you're going to be predicting the sales of the sales moving average, the linear regression of sales of United export oils in the United States. Another one is Montiel Automobiles. This is where you're going to be working on a data set that has been curated on a company called Montiel Automobiles. This is where you get to predict their sales of automobiles or mobiles over a period of time. You get to check the distribution of their customer. You get to check if their sales have been good or not, and you get to give recommendations on to the company and how they can move forward with sales in the company. Another one is the Emerald Technologies employee promotion data. This is a data set that gives you an insight into the employee demographics of Emerald Technologies. So this is where you get to do things like predicting attrition for the company, what the satisfaction rate of the company, job satisfaction of the employees have been like over time. What the job satisfaction has been like over time, and how the company can retain employees. So yeah, these are some of the projects that you'll be working on.
All right, thank you very much, Damilola. So just like Damilola explained, numerous projects. And like I mentioned, your learning is project-based. So you're not learning Excel the way you've learned previously in the past by just watching videos. No, you'd implement it in every single live class on Saturday. Castro Technologies, where you're helping them implement different employee benefits, employee structures that would help to boost employee morale, like implementing a gym, implementing different other resources within the organization based on the employee performance. You'd solve this problem using Excel. You'd work on Nestle product analytics, helping them understand their products across different regions, online food delivery business. You'd work on budget versus actual analysis. You'd work on fraudulent transactions. You'd build machine learning models that help you predict fraudulent transactions in a bank. The bank has been having so many fraudulent transactions, but how do you build a model that can detect that a transaction is fraudulent based on who has transferred the money, the account balance of that person before the transfer, after the transfer, and so many other variables that you'll be looking at. Employee attrition, one of the case studies you would look at. Data science salaries across different regions. ACE analytics, tracking employee time, getting your data from an employee tracking system that records attendance within the organization. You'd work on an aviation case study where you'd help an airline, up-and-coming airline, to identify the optimal pricing for their different flights through different routes. Legacies group HR case study. You work for a fundraising company, helping them identify potential donors that can provide them with donations. Fantastic projects. And remember the computer vision project I talked about. Now, these are different screenshots gotten from LinkedIn, from our previous participants that built their hand detection, pose detection program. It's the similar technology that is making you see only me instead of all the things behind me on the screen. So just look at what they've done. You'll see the video. You can see the lady, she's moving her hand around, and you can see her camera on her laptop can detect a hand. So that's a hand detection program built using Python. And I'll bet you every single person on this call can build a similar program. Every single person will build the similar program. On the face of it, it looks like something that is complex. However, it's something everybody can build. So you can see the pose detection. The lady at the bottom, she's moving and her camera can detect her pose. You can build other stuff on that to recognize only her rather than recognizing other objects that you have within the frame of the camera as well. So these are the fantastic projects our participants have built. You can see them moving around, and you can see their cameras detecting their different movements and poses. Like I mentioned, go on LinkedIn, type in Analytics, and type beside Analytics. So type Analytics, computer vision. Okay, and you see all the stuff people have built and they've posted on LinkedIn. Fantastic, fantastic projects. And these are some of the things you'd also get to build. And the beauty of working in tech, one of the reasons I got into tech is the ability to work remotely. I can work from anywhere across the globe. All right. And what that has done for me in the year 2023, I made a deliberate or a conscious decision that I was going to travel a whole lot more. Okay, I'm not going to be in 2022 was one of the busiest time of my life. When I say my life, I'm including my partner and and my family as well. One of the most difficult in terms of I was working all through. I didn't have time to travel and so on, but I made a conscious decision. And look, I'm going to travel a whole lot more. And I've been doing that, working out of different countries. I've traveled to 5 different countries this year alone, and so many other cities across the globe. And that's the beauty of working in tech, simply because you have the opportunity to work remotely, earn in dollars, earn in euros, and so on and so forth. And there are so many sites we're also going to work with you to show you how to apply to those jobs as well, from LinkedIn to Well-Found, which is one of the most fantastic sites you can get remote jobs. Formerly Angel List, if I'm correct, now Well-Found. You have remote.co, another fantastic website. But how do you then apply to these jobs? Part of the things would show you during your navigating the job market sessions with us. Efemena, the co-founder of Analytics, leads the data science program. All right. So Efemena has over a decade years of experience, close to a decade years of experience. He's worked with some of the largest logistic company in Europe, DPD to be specific. He's also worked with Teleflex, one of the largest medical technology companies in Ireland, and has also worked with the post office in the UK as well as their data analytics lead, helping them navigate through a major data transformation within the company. So Efemena leads the data science program. Of course, you'd see Efemena during your mentorship sessions a whole lot of the times. You'd see Efemena during your Watch Me Do It videos. You'd see myself as well every single week. Would be that person pushing you, because I bet you that the most difficult part is not learning. We've simplified the learning process to the best way possible, that even somebody who, a farmer, a baker, has been able to get jobs as data scientists after joining our program. Now, what we've also done is we've made it so simple that it's beginner friendly. You don't need to have any experience. You don't need to have a specific background to get into the space. Now, apart from that, during the mentorship sessions, you'd have people that need to push you to keep on applying to jobs. Oh, I applied to job. I went for the interview, first stage, second stage, they ghosted me. You need somebody like myself to tell you that, look, that is normal, but let's look at your CV. Can you ask for feedback, request for the feedback? What did you do wrong? What was not right? Why did they not get back to you? Did they find somebody that had better skills and so on? And that helps you grow. All right. So you'd see that every single week. We'd work with you to ensure that you make that transition and make the switch. You saw SL Gena. Brimer is also one of the senior data associates at Tenalytics. Fantastic, a first-class graduate from one of the best universities in Nigeria, over 5 years experience deploying data science initiatives. He's also going to be one of the faculty in the program. You have Obina. Obina is a data scientist currently in Canada. He's worked with Access Bank in Nigeria, but he currently works with a company in Canada as a data scientist, helping them build fantastic solutions. He would also be one of the faculty members on the data science program. You have Ibrahim. Ibrahim is a machine learning engineer. Ibrahim's professional career is a bit very interesting because he's a medical doctor turned machine learning engineer. He's one of the people that would also work with you on the data science program as well. You have Abdurrahman, who works with one of the big four here in the UK as a data science consultant. You have Chin Azam, who works with DPD Ireland, one of the largest logistic companies in Europe, helping them build machine learning solutions. You have Emmanuel, who is the lead data and insights analyst at Softcom. He's also one of the faculty members that would work with you to help you make that transition, and so many other professionals that would come in from time to time to also help you ensure that you have a smooth sailing learning experience. And I've had so many people asking the question, oh, when is the next cohort meant to start? When is the next cohort meant to start? And so on and so forth. Okay. All right, somebody sent you something very long. I'm not sure I can read everything, Temitayo, but damn, if you can read it, please let me know what Temitayo is saying. All right, the next cohort starts on the 4th of November. Okay, I want you to listen to one person, because of time. Listen to one person who has gone through the program and is doing a fantastic job. One person, I don't know, you guys will choose who you want to listen to, either Ikmat or Benga. And we're showcasing Ikmat or Benga because they're the most recent people that got jobs with us at Tenalytics, especially Ikmat, okay? But their stories are phenomenal. Ikmat was a stay-at-home mom in the UK, hadn't gotten into the work environment for a very long time, and then joined our program because she wanted to break back into the job market. She joined the data analytics program, and then eventually got a job with the NHS as a data analyst with full sponsorship. All right. Benga, on the other hand, was in Poland for about 2 years trying to get a job. He couldn't get a job. He joined our program and he landed his job. I worked with Benga. We had so many interview sessions and so on. Right? So you have Benga, you have Ikmat, you have Ramat, and so many other people. we have their testimonials on the slide, which you would receive. When you get it, feel free, click on the link, go to our YouTube, listen to all the professionals that started out their journey, and they are doing a fantastic job where they work across some of the major economies across the globe. So who do you want to listen to? Ikmat or Benga? Ikmat or Benga? There's also Ramat, of course. Ramat is also here, but I would love to hear, choose who you'd like to listen to. Somebody is also on the call to speak to you, okay? One of the participants is also on the call to speak to you and share their experience. All of them, we don't have time for all of them. So let's listen, first of all, to, let's listen to Ikmat, okay? So let's listen to Ikmat, and then you can click on the link later when you receive the slide to listen to the other professionals, okay? So let's click on the link. Okay, so I'm just going to move this. Right, so I'll start from the beginning again. And this time around, I'll need to share my audio, okay? So I'll share my audio, and then let's listen to what Ikmat has to say.
Everyone, my name is Ikmat, and I was with the March cohort in Internalytics, and joining Internalytics has been the best decision so far. You know, for me, someone coming from a background of full housewife, because I had to stay back home to look after my child for 4 years, and then wanting to break into something new, wanting to go back into the workforce, you know, wanting to place myself in the society for better job opportunities. So it was a lot. And then I'm glad that Internalytics came along, and then they presented me with so many opportunities right in front of me, better opportunities. And then I'm glad I took it. And then also the advice of do not sell yourself short, that Effie is always saying, it is very, very valid, because place yourself right, you know, don't sell yourself short. It's a very, very, very valid advice. You know, Internalytics, they will hold your hands like a child, you know, through the modules. You have the opportunity to go back and study. You have the opportunity to go back and practice. You have the opportunity to ask questions. You know, you have people you can always go back to, even outside of class hours. It's the most amazing experience so far, really. And then another thing is the interview prep, guys. That is another very important thing. I did my interview prep with Mr. Mohammed, and it is the best decision ever, because it was like he saw into the future. He knew what was going to be asked. And I'm glad that I wrote down all the things he mentioned. I went back to practice, and then when it was time for the interview, it was like everything he was mentioning, everything he mentioned, it was just, they kept on. And then when I was answering those questions, I was so confident, you know, because I already practiced. I did an Excel test, I did a maths test, and then they were really impressed. And another thing is, guys, it may not come as fast as you expect. Definitely you are going to get some no's, and then you may begin to think you're not good enough. You are good enough, yes. The no's will come, but always take it as a basis for learning and development, because after every interview where I got a no, I always make sure I get a personal feedback. So I work on those feedbacks for my next interviews. And yes, it worked. It really worked for me, because I got my first job 3 months into the program, my first job. But I couldn't take up the job because I was a student, and I was only eligible to work 20 hours. So I couldn't take up the job. 3 months later, I got 2 jobs with full visa sponsorship. And guys, all the other no's before the 2 jobs prepared me for the yeses I got. So yes, the no's will come, but do not give up, because you always have Internalytics to go back to. They are the best, and the best thing that's ever happened to me. And then yes, and they are the most affordable. The most affordable one I've come across so far. And that's a very good advantage. So yes, Internalytics for the win.
So that's Ikmat's story, and how she was able to break back into the work environment here in the UK. And there's so many other professionals across Canada, across the US, and you have them in the slide. Okay, not just these three, there's so many. I'm not going to bore you with all the testimonials because you have them on the slide already. All right. So what does it take to be a part of our program at Analytics? That's including what you stand to learn, the technical skill, and also the additional employability services. You heard what Ikmat said about getting an interview preparation with Mohammed, who prepared her for our interview, and she knew the right things to say because she was well prepared for that interview. If you're paying in pounds to be a part of our program, it's £400 to get into the class. And if you're paying in Naira, it's 400,000 Naira. All right. And you can make payments in multiple installments, 2 installments to be precise. At the beginning, Brima mentioned we have a special offer for you. We had the offer for the data analytics guys yesterday, and today is for the data science guys. So rather than paying £400 to get into our class, or 400,000, you get a whopping discount of £100 to be a part of the program. So instead of paying £400, you get to pay 300, 200 to get into class, and 100 1 month after the program commences. Instead of paying 400,000 Naira, you get to pay 300,000, 200 to get into class, 100,000 1 month after the program commences, and 500 Canadian dollars, 350 to get started, 150 1 month after the class starts. Once you make payments and we confirm your payment, you receive a welcome kit. The welcome kit contains all the programs, applications, your learning timetable, and all the materials you need. How do you download and install Anaconda? How do you download and install Tableau, Excel, and so many other tools you'll be using during your program, all right? So we have somebody on the call that would also come to speak, okay? And then I know you have so many questions. I'll leave you to Damilola to take your questions and address every single question that you have, okay? So to make payments, my colleagues would send the link into the chat for you to access. But the easiest way, like I mentioned, once you get the slide, ensure that you take advantage of the discount. A lot of people always mention this, oh, Adeza, I want to be a part of the program, but I'm hearing that the discount is off. Okay, so take advantage of the discount, which is for the first 20 participants to register from this session. The first 20 participants to register for this session. Okay, so if I click on the link, it takes me, just give me 1 second. It takes me into where I can make my payments. And you have so many options for making payments. First of all, you can access the program brochures from here. You can also pay in Naira by using the pay stack option. So let's take, for example, I want to make my payments. And for those in Ghana, we also advise you to use the pay stack option as well. So I click on the link for the pay stack option, and it takes me to where I find the full stack data science, click on the link, and then I can select if I want to pay full or part payments. If I select part payments, it shows me 200,000 and so on and so forth. So you can make payments using Paystack. If you are somewhere in Europe, in Germany, in Poland, you can also make payments using PayPal, all right? And then, of course, you can also do a direct transfer for those who would want to do a direct transfer to us as well. So you can pay into our UK account to be a part of the program, or pay into our Fidelity Bank account, which is our Naira account for you to get started. Okay, so, and if you ever want to reach out to us, you have our numbers. You can easily reach out. You want a clarity session. Oh, I've always been a primary school teacher. I want to transition into data science. How do I start? All right. You want to have that conversation, one-on-one conversation. We can also set that up for you. So I'll be handing over to Damilola, okay, to take up the questions session from here, and to also handle any questions that you might have. I'm sure you have questions you'd like to ask. So Damilola, over to you. I'm sure we have somebody who would like to speak as well, and then we take questions. So cheers, guys.
Thank you so much, Adeza, for that. Thank you for all the explanation. Yes, so moving forward, I'm going to call on Amosun. Amosun, if you can hear me, do you want to unmute yourself and, go ahead and,
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Good evening. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing great.
Okay.
It's been
Do you want
informative.
to?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to turn on your camera so I can spotlight you?
Yeah, okay.
Hi. Good
Hi,
evening.
everyone. Good
All
evening.
right. So please feel free, go ahead and tell us how you got to know about analytics, when you started your program and how far you've come in the program.
This is a great opportunity to speak with my our new intakes. Let me first of all start by saying I've tried many platforms to learn about data analysis or data science. I've tried Udemy, I've tried Coursera, but a friend of mine who actually was in data engineering cohort told me about analytics, and I registered a couple of months ago. And I can tell you guys, it's been remarkable because I've learned quite pretty well. I've been working on some real life projects, and I've learned so many skills that I couldn't learn myself before. In analytics, they have a system where they take your hand and take you through the process from zero to hero. Just last month, I was privileged to work on a particular data where we do some predictive analysis and forecasting, which is very, very interesting. I can tell you that if you are open or seeking out to learn about data science or data analysis, this is one stop for you. This is a good place for you where you can get skill set and job ready skill. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amuson. So when did you start your program again?
Yeah, I started a couple of months. I actually started in August.
August. Fantastic. Do you want to share any of your projects that you worked on in class, just to...
Oh, how do I do that now? Well, let me just speak about it. I just last couple of days, I was working on automobile project where I try to find out valuable insights from the company data set to ensure to uncover the pattern of sales for the company using Tableau. And Tableau is one of the tools for data analysis and visualization. So I started by categorizing each category of customers using some function in Tableau, and I try to do some little analysis, then visualization, and then build a dashboard with a report for the company. It's a very interesting project.
Okay, great. So what would you tell people that are looking to register at Analytics and start their program?
Oh, like I said before, if you are really, really like interested in learning data science or financial analysis or data analysis or HR analytics and all that, this is the right place for you. This is the right place for you because analytics, it's quite is unusual, like other platform where they will take you through the process on real life projects, and you have also watch me videos, and you can also get back to the instructor when you run into problems. Is a place to be. I can say that. I can recommend this for anyone who is interested.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming, Amusun. Really appreciate you for coming. All right.
Yeah, thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And congratulations to everyone. Welcome to the Analytics family. Thank you.
Welcome to Analytics.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. So you've heard from Amos himself. You've heard from IPMAT, and then we'd also share the slides with you to hear from the other participants that have gone through our program. Also, you can go to our Instagram page. You can go to our check us out on LinkedIn and also on YouTube to see more of these testimonials. So right now, I'm going to take questions. If you have questions that you'd like to ask, feel free to use the raise an icon, and I will call you. Yeah. So feel free to use the raise an icon, and I'll call you, or you can drop your questions in the chat, and I'll just pick it up from there. Okay. So I'm going to start with Charles. Charles, you have your hand raised. Do you want to go ahead and ask your question? Hello, Charles. I'm going to ask you to unmute, so you can ask your question.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Oh, good evening, everyone. Is it possible to merge this course with another course, financial analytics? Is it possible?
Okay.
And it's like this one is starting by December.
Okay, you want to take this course and take financial analytics
Looking
at the
at,
same time?
yeah, is it possible? Would it not be too
No,
cumbersome?
it will be too much. You know, the classes run at the same time. Okay, so it's not possible for
Okay.
you to take one class and
No.
you know, take the other class at the same time. And then, you know, we want you to focus on one particular one, get all that you can get from that program before you you know, go ahead and register for another one. Do you understand?
No problem.
Okay.
Okay, no problem. We'll look at it. Then I want to thank you guys for doing a great job. I'm just a week old with analytics. You guys are doing a good job, I think, at least for now, what I've seen. Thanks, guys.
Thank you
It's
so much, Charles.
encourage any other person that wants to. I do other online courses too as well. I've done others and I'm still working on some. I think analytics, what I got for the last 1 week. I say thank you guys. Keep the good job.
Thank you. Are you currently taking one of the programs?
Yeah, financial analytics.
Oh, okay, fantastic. You have so much to learn. So really wishing you.
So and I really
really enjoy.
want to see how I can really dive into more Power BI, Tableau, and all about business and data engineering, business analytics and data engineering. Those are my core interests.
Oh, you get there eventually. You get there.
Okay. No. Thank you so
All right,
much.
thank you so much, Charles. Abib, you have your hand raised. I'm going to ask you to unmute so you can ask your question. Hello, Habib.
Oh, hi, good evening.
Good evening.
How are you? Thank you for the lectures and everything. So my question is that I'm a banker. So I just wanted to confirm how would that be possible to attend the class, because it's it will be very difficult for me. I work I can I say from 7:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. So how possible is that for me?
Classes are on weekends only. So do you work on weekends or on Saturdays?
No. Saturday and Sunday I'm free.
Yeah, so classes are on weekends. You don't have to worry about if you go to work. So we have this program designed for people who go to work, who go to classes. You don't have to take classes, are not during the week. All right. So you come to class on Saturday, you have your full concentration, you're able to participate in class. That is what we want for you. So yeah, classes are on weekends.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we have Timitayo. Timitayo, I'm going to ask you to unmute so you can ask your question.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
Hello, good evening. Can you hear me? Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, thank you for the session. Yeah, I want to know, is it possible, because in the curriculum, I can't see Power BI there. So I want to know, is it possible? I'm interested in knowing more about Power BI and big analytics. Is it possible for me to have that if I'm joining the program?
Okay, so for the full stack data science program, we have Tableau embedded in the program. So Tableau is another data visualization tool that is next, almost on the same par with Power BI.
Yeah,
But
I
for
know.
the Power BI program, we have it in the data analytics program. Okay,
Okay,
so
not in data science.
Yes, not in data science. So full stack data science has the Tableau program, the Tableau training embedded in it, while Power BI is in our data analytics program. So, and Tableau is also if you go online and you check the Gartner chart that we use to pick the visualization tools that we will be teaching, Power BI is first, and then there's Tableau. And that's because we want you to know one of these tools, at least one of these tools, as a full stack data scientist. Do you understand?
Okay.
So not Power BI, but we have Tableau. Okay.
Okay. But you are no more doing big data in your data science curriculum again.
When you say big data, what do you mean big data?
Big data in the sense that the use of using AWS and working with MongoDB, something like that, which is an unstructured data.
When you say big data refers to working with large amount of data. Okay. It refers to working with large, enormous amount of data. If we look at the volume of data that we as people produce in every second, that's big amount of data. So when we say big data, we are referring to working with large amount of data. Now, data science is a career under big data. Under big data, well, we have data engineering, and that is where we cover the AWS program. Do you understand?
Okay.
So if you want to learn AWS, it is under the data engineering program, not under the full stack data science program.
Okay. No, I understand. Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I have Chidi Ebere. Chidi Ebere, do you want to go ahead and ask your question? I'm going to ask you to unmute so you can ask your question.
Okay, good evening, Damilola.
Hi.
My name is Chidi. I am currently doing a data science course with a particular institute, and I am very much interested in the internship parts of this your own program, from what Adiza mentioned, and the last part I can't remember again. The last part, if you can remind me.
The
The
growth
last part of
internship
what
program.
you was showing. Say that again, please.
The growth internship program.
I cannot really remember, but I don't think that's the name he called it. But I'm interested in the internship program, and I'm also interested in that last part that he mentioned. So I don't know if there's going to be a special consideration, because I've done my data science course to a very deep extent, a very advanced extent. As I'm talking to you now, I'm doing natural processing language. And you can see that I've gone very far. I'm just interested in the internship, and the last part is he's trying to explain, where he talked about building your CV, getting a job, and the rest of them. So I don't know if there's going to be a special consideration for that.
No. So all of these things actually come with the program, So it's part of it is something that we've added to our programs. It's not separate. So if you are not taking the program with us, then there's no way to join these sessions. For example, the LinkedIn optimization session is part of something that we built to be able to help our students position themselves properly in the in the job field generally, right? So these are things that we've added to our program to ensure that our students come out at the top. So we're unable to separate it from the main program. Do you understand?
It's okay, no problem then. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. So from the chat, I have, what spec of computer do I need for the program? So for Richard, if you have a laptop that is 8 gig RAM, 500 HDD with good gigahertz and all of that, that's good to get you started and running. It can be Dell, it can be HP, it can be Lenovo, but from 8 gig RAM, 500 HDD, you're good to go. I hope that answers your question. Then can I use existing Excel data, Python app with ChatGPT? Yes, you can use existing Excel data, right? So what you're going to be using is existing Excel data. If you go with the ChatGPT version 4, you will even be able to upload the data into ChatGPT. Okay, that's for Daniel Shulola. Daniel. Chibuike, do you want to? Okay, how do I contact you guys? Yeah, are you on the WhatsApp group? Chibuike. Okay, so message any of the admins on the WhatsApp group and we will attend to you. Just send a message to any of the admins and we will attend to you. Okay, I hope that answers your question. All right, do we have any other questions? Do we have any other questions before we call it a very fantastic day? Do we have any other questions? Okay, so we are going to be having more sessions like this coming up. So please feel free to attend. If you want to reach out to us on the WhatsApp group, send any of the admins a message and we will attend to you. And lastly, please feel free to register as soon as you can before so register for you as soon as you can before the discount ends. Okay. Is computer part of the fee? What do you mean computer? Daniel, what do you mean computer? Also, Clara, are you on the WhatsApp group? Okay, so I'm going to drop a number for you to send a message to, and yeah, we'll pick it up from there. Daniel, if you'd like to explain what you mean by, are you asking if we're going to be giving computers for the programs? Oh, no. You come with your own computer, all right? So we are not, it's not a part of the program. You'd have to come with your own laptop. All right, so I hope that answers your question. So Clara, copy that number and send a message on WhatsApp and we'll attend to you. So Joseph, I sent a message to the chat. Feel free to copy the number I sent and send a message and we'll attend to you as well. I'm just going to type it again. Okay. Yeah, so Peter, I said anything from 8 gig RAM, 500 HDD, you are good to go. Okay, so it can be Dell, it can be HP, it can be Lenovo, it does not matter. As long as it is 8 gig RAM to 500 HDD, then you're good to go. I hope that answers your question. Hello, Peter. I hope that answers your question. Okay. Do you have any other question? Okay, so I said 8 gig RAM, 500 HDD. Anything from that, you're good to go. Did you get that? Okay, fantastic. So this is where we're going to be stopping for today. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us on any of our social media platforms or on WhatsApp. I will attend to you. So thank you so much for coming, guys, and bye.